Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally up of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens. And they need people who can keep up, with the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
On the streets of Miami, speed is the law. So when a corn dog goes after the wrong girl...
Oh, heartburn!
One man will bring her Tums Ultra Strength.
I'm on my way.
Don't get wrecked by heartburn. Nothing works faster than Tums.
Your mustard's fast, but my Tums are faster.
And with Tums on-the-go rolls, it's never been easier to leave heartburn behind.
You did it.
Yeah. You gonna finish that corn dog?
Tums Ultra Strength, available in a store near you.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a SelectQuote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-471-9807. That's 800-471-9807. 800-471-9807. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
It is 5:12. It's been an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. On the Eisenhower outbound at Laramie, got a crash blocking the right lane and the exit ramp. Told there's a pull down in that area. Ryan outbound. Got delays from 91st before Michigan Avenue and the outbound Bishop 4. This is due to overnight work in the left lane. Inbound traffic is heavy on I-57 from I-80 to Cicero. The road work in the two left lanes. Should be wrapping up shortly. And then on the inbound Ryan, we're getting a little congestion approaching downtown. The other expressways and tollways look good. South Side fire investigators are busy in the 1300 block of West 57th after a major fire. We'll have plenty of traffic in Highland Park tonight. There's a CSO concert at Ravinia, and the PGA Senior Championship is going on at Exmoor with round one scheduled today. There's also golf in Wheaton at Chicago Golf Club with U.S. Senior Women's Open. Traffic Service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty to become a compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly sunny and seasonably warm. Air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups throughout the day with a high getting up to 87. Then tonight, clear to partly cloudy with a low of 68. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560 The Answer.
71 at O'Hare, 69 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Trump giving our NATO allies some indigestion at breakfast yesterday. It seems to me that Trump really likes to seize on a combination of two things. There's sort of two sides of the same coin. One is weakness of adversaries. And I know these are allies, our NATO allies, but they're also adversaries in a lot of meaningful ways. Thus, some of the tariff policy that's gone back and forth among some of our NATO allies, thus the very public disagreement about how to handle refugees and the discussion of immigration more in the West more generally. I think so. There's the weakness of adversaries and also the success of strategies that are employed against adversaries. And I think Trump has found some success exhibiting American hegemony in these meetings, making sure it's clear to everybody who is the big dog on the block and who will be doing the dictating.
To me, it's all about he's sick of picking up the check. You know, there comes a point of time of fatigue where you're just sick of paying for everything, and that's what he wants. He wants our NATO allies to pay up, to pay their fair share of defense.
But it was interesting that he focused specifically on Germany. There's a couple of legitimate reasons for it, but here's some of Trump's remarks that had his chief of staff, John Kelly, squirming in his seat.
When Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries. And then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas.
Yeah.
Sounds very Chicago-esque.
Well, it does a little bit, and Trump sounds like very watchdogian in exposing this and openly complaining about it. There's some historical precedent on this, too. Back in 1982, President Reagan blew up a pipeline that our allies, and I mean, who had a close relationship to England than when Reagan was president and Thatcher was prime minister. The Thatcher government wanted a pipeline from the Soviet Union to Western Europe. Reagan wanted to punish the Soviet Union for its repressive actions in Poland, as well as prevent Western European dependency on Russian energy, which is what Trump is talking about here with the Germans. He issued sanctions against companies doing business with the pipelines. And then the pipeline in 1882 went boom. The U.S. government at the time learned the Soviets were looking to steal American software to operate the pipelines, and so the Reagan administration booby-trapped the software and blew up the pipeline. So, you know, playing hardball with NATO allies is not new. I think what's a little bit new is the rhetoric that Trump employs.
And just so you know, the reason why John Kelly looked a little disturbed, it wasn't because of what Trump was saying. It was because he didn't get a real breakfast. He just got a croissant and cheese.
Doesn't like the continental breakfast.
No, he doesn't. He wanted an American breakfast. Right. He wanted eggs and bacon, meat, potatoes. That's what he wanted. So
yeah, that's what Sarah Sanders said.
He's kind of squirming in his seat a little bit.
I'm not sure that I believe that.
And was that Kate Bailey Hutchinson sitting next to them?
Mm-hmm.
She's back. What is she? Because she's
an
senator
ambassador
in Texas. Oh, yes. That's what I figured when I had to look it up. But yeah.
The interesting piece, too, sort of along the lines of what I'm saying from Aaron Blake in the Washington Post. He describes what the method of Trump's madness. He essentially calls it the madman approach to foreign policy. projecting unpredictability, which of course President Trump likes to do. And he makes the point, it's pretty clear what's at play here. Trump has long expressed concerns about how much European countries are contributing to the common defense, that is NATO. And this is an American concern that predates his presidency.
Well, they said yesterday they're going to raise their defense spending from 2% to 4%.
No, that's what President Trump wants. He wants it to go to 4% of GDP. Nobody's there, including the United States at this point. But there has been an increase in contributions to the common defense by some of our allies after Trump started beating this drum. And, it's difficult to argue against that. Even people who are critical of Trump's rhetoric, sometimes skeptical of his approach, like David French over at National Review, writes, President Trump, absolutely positively right to be upset at the state of the German military. It's indefensibly weak and unprepared. NATO isn't a social club. It's a military alliance. And even if one posits that Germany shouldn't reach its full potential military strength, see World War II, can't we at least ask that it not be a pale shadow of its recent West German past? All fair points, in addition to the thing that really seemed to get Trump riled, sort of extra riled than he was previously about contributions to the common defense, this pipeline from Russia. And it was a nice little bit of flipping the script. Oh, I'm, Putin's best friend. I'm not the one cutting a pipeline deal with the Russians or trying to.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Famous conservative quotes, presented by Automated Systems.
Ronald Reagan was quite accurate when he said, "The most terrifying words in the English language are, 'I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.'" Modern conservatives would wholeheartedly agree.
It's important we support companies that share our conservative values. If you are a manufacturer, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Kulchar from Automated Systems. As a software and systems integration company, Automated Systems creates custom solutions to make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. It doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 500 or a startup, Automated Systems delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. For information, I encourage you, man, to talk to Laz at Automated Systems. Call 844-HIRE-ASI or visit automatedsys.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
Hey, your kids aren't thinking about school. Oh, no. But it's a perfect time for you to think about where you'll be sending your child back to school this fall. And more parents are thinking about private schools, and maybe that's you. Well, private schools have never been more affordable thanks to our good friends at halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for private schools for a full year at half the price. There's no catch. Go to their website. There's schools all over the Chicago area, in Elgin, in Aurora, in South Holland, Kankakee, Chicago. But don't delay. Summer won't last forever, thank goodness. And school will be starting again before you know it. Yay. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. So do it today because many of these vouchers have already sold out. Don't wait. Halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a SelectQuote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-471-9807. That's 800-471-9807. 800-471-9807. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
AM 560, The Answer.
Ow!
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
Yeah,
and
good morning for you.
Stormy Daniels, correspondent.
Well, yeah, Stormy Daniels spent the night in prison last night. She's in jail. She's waking up in jail this morning in Ohio.
No.
Well, the exotic dancer, she's, been making the rounds, the Make America Horny Again tour. I think that's what it's called. She had a stop in Ohio, and she was doing her thing on stage. And these two undercover cops decided that, they wanted, I don't know if they were baiting her in, but she allegedly allowed them to touch her while on stage. They said it was a non-sexual manner.
No
but basically,
touching.
She rubbed her bosoms against her buddies. And
You're not allowed to touch the patrons.
The name of the strip club, Sirens. Get it? It is called Sirens Strip Club in Columbus, Ohio. And the sirens began, and then they took her.
Was she dancing to this song? No touching.
She wasn't playing. I don't know what song she was playing, but they took her into custody, and she spent the night in jail, which is odd. It's because it's a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by a $1,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. Here's the state law in Ohio. You cannot touch a dancer's genitals, bottom, or breasts, or any other physical contact is considered a fourth-degree misdemeanor, which comes with 30 days in jail. Her attorney, Mr. I'm a name assassinate, Michael Avenatti.
Yes, you're not familiar with his work?
No, I am. He calls this, said it was a trap, that this was a setup and politically motivated. It reeks of desperation. We will fight all bogus charges.
Something reeks there, but it's nice. Thanks for giving us the strip joint law in that hamlet in Ohio. It's very classy. So Stormy Daniels.
She wakes up in jail this morning. I can't wait to see her mugshot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's a misdemeanor.
Well, they still are going to take her. She spent the night in jail.
Probably had a good time. Bill in Glen Ellen, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I was listening to President Trump deal with NATO, and it reminded me of that scene from Caddyshack when Rodney Dangerfield, the real estate developer, asked his two associates, Rocco and Moose, to help the judge find his checkbook.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Thanks for the call, Bill. Yeah, and he is helping. Rocco and Moose are helping Angela Merkel and some of our other NATO allies find their checkbooks, so that's a good thing.
He's sick of alligator arms, pay up. Do you understand that, alligator arms?
No, I understand, yes. You didn't invent that. We've heard of that before. Yeah.
Boo. Because you can't reach your pocket.
Yeah, right. You're not picking up a
your,
tab.
You're not getting
Yeah, I got, uh-huh. Right, got it. Yeah, thanks for that. Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, thanks for the update on Stormy Daniels that nobody really cares about.
Amy does.
Instead of hearing percentages about what we're spending for NATO and so forth, I'd like to see what a dollar amount actually is and how that money is actually spent. Are they just writing a check and saying, here, NATO, whatever, NATO, I don't even know what it is. I know what they do, but
did you see that? Yeah, did you see that? Did you see the beautiful new headquarters there in Brussels? Isn't that nice?
No.
So it's lovely.
Did you see the lady come in with the balloons? She was on a flying trapeze.
Yeah. Well, we spend.
Anyway, I'd like to see the dollar amount, not so much the percentage.
Well, okay, Ed. Ed. You're so irascible, Ed. I think I'm irascible in the morning. $18.5 trillion is our GDP, Ed. I'm going to make you do some math. Not Amy. You don't have to do math. I'm going to make Ed do it.
Well, I heard.
And I'm going to make him do it and call back. $18.5 trillion is our GDP, and we spend about 3.5% of GDP on NATO.
Really? You're not making me do this,
No,
right?
Ed has to do. He's listening. He heard the numbers. He heard the problem.
Well,
he can do the math, and he can come back and tell us what that number is.
70% of funding for NATO is from the United States.
Yeah, and we're tired of it.
Right.
We're tired of these welfare queens in Western Europe.
Right.
Yeah.
So pay up.
Pay up or get to work. Do something. Just sit around like Macron.
He has to take care of Bridget.
It's true.
Bridget. Did you see her yesterday?
Yeah.
She's still looking good.
Melania and Brigitte Macron seem to get along very nicely.
Yeah. They look forward to these summits.
It's nice. Bruno in Naperville.
Yeah, NATO is an organization in search of a mission, It became invalid when the Berlin Wall came down. It was put into place for two things. One, to keep the Russians down, and two, to keep the Germans down.
Yeah.
And that's done.
Well,
so we should get out.
I don't know about getting out, and thanks for the call. I don't know that keeping Russia out, so to speak, given Putin's revanchist tendencies, is...
I love revanchist tendencies.
Is a done deal. Revanchist tendencies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new move we're doing. It's Shih Tzu.
That's...
Revanchist tendencies.
Revanchist.
Revanchist tendencies.
Was your college garage band, Cure tribute band.
My college band was the Barbecue Band. That's the worst name.
The Barbecue Band. Was that the band with the competitive eater you dated?
No, he came to watch.
I bet.
Get him hungry. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Cook County Forest Preserve police officer will tell you about his future.
Remembering an Irishman who lost his job in city government. And also dueling letters for Brett Kavanaugh. One from Yale Law, another from his high school classmates.
Oh.
We'll have that at 5:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Fair skies, 71 degrees. President Trump attacking NATO on Twitter again this morning. President currently in Brussels, but headed to London later today. He was attending the NATO summit, saying all NATO nations again must meet their 2% commitment and bump it up to 4%. President Trump heads to Britain later today to begin a 2-day working visit to that country. NBC News correspondent Kristen Welker is there.
The Prime Minister is going to meet him at Blenheim Palace later today. That is the birthplace of Winston Churchill. And then they will have a dinner this evening. And then he's going to be having tea with the Queen tomorrow before leaving. And, of course, he'll have some official meetings with her.
Tens of thousands are expected to fill the streets of London protesting the president's visit. The founder of the multi-billion-dollar Papa John's pizza chain is resigning as chairman after admitting to using a racial slur during a company conference. Forbes was first to report that John Schnatter made the offensive comment when asked during the conference how he would distance himself from racist groups online. Elon Musk says he will fund water contamination fixes in Flint, Michigan. The Tesla founder promised on Twitter he would fund fixing the water in any house in Flint that has contamination above FDA-approved levels. Comcast is upping its bid this morning in its bid to buy British TV pay-for-play broadcaster Sky. Comcast offered $34 billion, topping 21st Century Fox's $32.5 billion offer. Fox already owns about 40% of Sky. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh continues to make the rounds on Capitol Hill, preparing for the confirmation process. Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan yesterday met with reporters, told them complying with a congressional subpoena is not an option. Ryan was asked yesterday about former FBI attorney Lisa Page's refusal to take questions behind closed doors.
She was a part of the mess that we have uncovered over at DOJ. She has an obligation to come and testify. If she wants to come plead the Fifth, that's her choice.
Ryan called himself disturbed by Page's decision to defy the House subpoena. A federal appeals court ruling says TSA screeners at airports have virtual immunity from claims of assault and false arrest. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals in Philadelphia said airport screeners cannot be sued because they are not investigative or law enforcement officers. The ruling involved a Florida woman who sued TSA for false arrest and imprisonment after a security check ended with her being jailed. Houston Texans player and former University of Wisconsin Badger J.J. Watt donating $10,000 to a GoFundMe page created for a fallen Sun Prairie, Wisconsin firefighter. Corey Barr was killed in an explosion Tuesday evening. The explosion actually happened at a bar owned by the fire captain after a gas main was struck by a contractor, causing a leak. Health officials in this state are looking into 9 new cases of Legionnaire's disease. These cases are showing up in McHenry County. Loved ones are saddened following the passing of an elderly Elgin woman who made headlines for displaying an Impeach President Trump sign in her yard. Myra Becker died this week at the age of 94. And 4 Illinois legislators and 6 Chicago aldermen are joining other lawmakers across the country calling for the disbanding of the government department known as ICE. The group argues ICE uses brutal enforcement tactics, and the legislators say they have separated families. White Sox blank the Cardinals 4-0. Giants clipped the Cubs 5-4 in 13. France and Croatia in the World Cup final on Sunday. Croatia defeating England 2-1 yesterday in extra time. The news, a service of the Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offering more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports. Coaches, parents, and students visit PCADevZone.org. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees a win for the Republicans in November if we take some advice.
With this new era of confrontation that seems justified by a lot of people on the left. Here's what I'm concerned about. I'll be very blunt. I don't want us to be like them. As long as we're not like them, we're going to beat them where it counts, and that's on November 6th.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Pursue your passion with a degree from Aurora University Online. Choose fully online programs in business, computer science, and more. To learn more, visit online.aurora.edu.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Right now, are you sitting in your home afraid to go out in public? Afraid to be seen in a restaurant? Afraid to talk or smile knowing those dentures will fall out at any minute? I'm Dr. Howard Cooper from Excellence in Dentistry, and we can handle all your worries. We have a complete in-house denture lab, and we're here to help you smile and eat with all the confidence again. Every day I see folks like Mary, whose family didn't know where else to turn. Mary's been losing weight and wouldn't eat with her ill-fitting dentures. After talking with Mary, we realized that not only did her denture not fit well, but she hated the way it made her look. We fabricated a new denture that day, and we designed it with Mary's concerns in mind. The smile on her face when we finished conveyed the greatest feeling of all. Mary not only looked beautiful, but she was happy and couldn't wait to get downstairs and hit the restaurant. Mary is happy and her family is happy. That's what we do for our patients. We change their lives. Call us at 847-244-4000 for your free consultation. Don't hide in your house any longer. Enjoy your summer with a new smile and a new outlook on life. Again, call us at 847-244-4000. We are located in Gurnee at Washington and 21 in Saratoga Square. Excellence in Dentistry, creating excellence one smile at a time.
5:37. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens to Kennedy still look good at this hour with no significant delays. On Eisenhower, though, it's pretty congested between Wolf and First Avenue. It's 32-minute drive time from 390 to downtown. Outbound fine at 29, and a crash at Laramie has cleared. Stevenson, 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to Merge, Bishop 421. Northbound Tri-State, we're seeing roadwork delays from the Grand Avenue curve to Balmoral. Traffic is a service of Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. A sunny day ahead, very warm. It's what we used to call an ozone action day today. High near 90, mainly clear and warm. Low of 72 overnight and 94. Hot and humid tomorrow. 71 degrees at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Tasty Catering. Company picnics taste better with tastycatering.com.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Brett Kavanaugh making the rounds, feeding the homeless yesterday.
Oh, yeah. How dare he? Well, I know. The left was like, did you see? He's feeding the homeless. Well, yeah, he's scheduled to do that long before he was a nominee for the Supreme Court justice.
Mm-hmm. And then this...
Such a big deal about it.
Trying to come up with anything that could hold up his nomination. Washington Post reporting that in 2016, Brett Kavanaugh reported having between $60,000 and $200,000 in debt accrued over 3 credit cards and a loan. Isn't it fascinating? Each credit card held between $15,000 and $50,000 in debt, and a thrift savings plan loan was between $15,000 and $50,000 in debt. The debt was built up, according to White House spokesman Raj Shah,
gambling habit?
Because of buying
kidding.
Washington National season tickets and tickets for playoff games for himself and a handful of friends. Also, some of the debts were for home improvements.
Well, yeah, obviously the larger ones. But people don't realize season tickets cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And when I had my season tickets, you put it on your credit card, and then you slowly paid it off throughout the year. That's what people... You've got season tickets.
This is riveting.
You know how it works.
That's all. Kavanaugh's friends... Wait,
is baseball bad? 312-642-5600.
The story gets even more fascinating. Kavanaugh's friends reimbursed him for their share of the baseball tickets, and he's since stopped purchasing baseball tickets.
Because he's too busy coaching his daughter's team, right?
His most recent financial disclosure forms reveal reportable assets between $15,000 and $65,000, which would put him at the bottom of financial ranking of justices. Value of residence is not subject to disclosure. According to Shaw, the Kavanaughs have no debt at this juncture beyond their home mortgage, singular. He said the Kavanaugh has assets of nearly $1 million between the equity in his home and his retirement account. So, he's been in the public sector for the last 2 decades. He hasn't been working as a private lawyer, so
right.
He doesn't have eye-popping net worth, I guess.
Right,
I would
and
say.
has a mortgage, not mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm sure his home is worth probably $1 million, which is normal for Washington, D.C.
No, I don't think so. It's his total assets.
Total assets.
Yeah. So that's the financial picture of Brett Kavanaugh.
But they acted like it was a breaking news story yesterday.
Yeah.
Credit card debt in the tens of thousands.
So
and I just went and then looked into it. It's baseball tickets and home improvements.
He's not going to be compromised on the court by Visa or MasterCard. So don't worry, American electorate. The Washington Post is on it. This was sort of interesting, too, these dueling letters. You had classmates of his from Georgetown Prep, high school, who wrote a letter endorsing their classmate. Brett's defining characteristics in high school were his sharp intellectual ability, affable nature, and a practical and fair approach devoid of partisan purpose. It's pretty advanced characterization for a high school kid these classmates are making. The letter continues... the same traits that made him stand out at Georgetown Prep distinguish him on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. He's a devoted son, husband, father, and friend. Despite his great achievements, he remains the same grounded and approachable person that we met in high school. They continued to advocate for his confirmation. Now that's very different than what's happening at Yale Law School, which is sort of a sign of the times, particularly on college campuses. Open letter signed by a host of Yale Law School students, alumni, and educators, decrying Yale issuing a press release celebrating a Yale law graduate being nominated to the court, and suggesting that, quote, Judge Kavanaugh's nomination presents an emergency for democratic life, for our safety and freedom, and the future of our country. Yale students, Yale law students, alumni, and educators, professors. An emergency for democratic life, our safety and freedom, and the future of the country, does one Brett Kavanaugh present.
How do they warp safety into this?
People will die if he is confirmed, Amy. We don't have time to make an evidentiary case. It's an emergency.
I mean, they should be celebrating him. The fact that they had walked in the same halls as him, sat in the same lecture halls as him.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he might have touched the same book.
Excuse me, he's a monster.
This is my favorite. What Kavanaugh was secretly caught doing hours after Trump's nomination will silence his critics.
He's a monster who must be stopped.
He's feeding the homeless. Shame on him.
As David French writes in National Review, to read this Yale letter is to peer into the future. Young lawyers, students, already on a trajectory to lead the American academy, government, economy. They represent a left-wing face of American intolerance. That's redundant.
Mm-hmm.
And he suggests if you think polarization is bad now, the radical students at Yale are sending a clear message. They have not yet begun to rage. No question about it.
Rage all you want. I'm not listening. It's like white noise, you know?
Well, it is, except to the extent that you've got people that are in positions of authority now. You're talking about, late Yale law students are influencers now, and you've got the next crop coming online. God and Man at Yale, that was Bill Buckley's famous book. There's certainly not God, and there aren't too many men at Yale these days. Tom in Deer Park, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, hey, Dan and Amy, good morning. Hey, Dan, the culture has come a long way. I was wondering if you could explain to the class why Doug Ginsburg was rejected in, I think it was 86 or 87.
Gave us
when
Kennedy.
Reagan appointed him.
Yeah, that gave us Kennedy.
I'll hang up.
Okay. Well, it was because he admitted to smoking marijuana. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that did him in. I mean, I don't think that would, even if he got vetted for that now, I don't think that would happen. So I think we've come a long way. That's my point.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thanks for the call, Tom.
Because marijuana is legal in some states now?
I don't know that we've come a long way. I mean, we're about to put somebody on the high court who amassed thousands of dollars in temporary debt for buying baseball tickets.
And his friends reimbursed him. This is great. So how this story broke that he was feeding the homeless. I don't know why I'm fascinated with this. He always donates his time to Catholic charities. And a woman was walking home from work and saw him outside of this parish working with Catholic charities. And she snapped the picture, and she was shocked that he would be there without protection and sent it to the Daily Caller.
Okay.
It's gripping. I mean, the way he handles the plate and puts the food on the plate and interacts with the homeless.
Yeah, this guy is...
I mean, he's dangerous.
There's no question. Also, this piece in The Atlantic from a gentleman named Paul Rosenzweig, who's a think tank guy now, but he was an attorney who appeared before Kavanaugh when he was on the D.C. Court of Appeals. And it's interesting. He talks about a case in where an inmate that he was representing, this lawyer was representing, wanted to appeal his conviction.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially what happened is there was a notice of intent to appeal that was made. The appeal needs to be filed in a certain period of time, otherwise you lose your standing to appeal. And there was some snafu within the U.S. Bureau of Prisons of getting the paperwork to the D.C. Court of Appeals so that his appeal could be heard on the merits. And by the kind of black letter of the time restriction, Kavanaugh could have easily just said, well, we're not going to hear the appeal. You missed the deadline. But rather than that, the essence of what Kavanaugh said, according to Rosenzweig, give me a hard and fast rule and I'll apply it, but here I have discretion. Why shouldn't we let him, the prisoner who was seeking to appeal his conviction, have the appeal and turn to the merits of the appeal in making our decision? And that's what happens. What happened, writes Rosenzweig. Exercising their discretion, the judge and the panel decided that enough had been done to make my client's appeal effective, and they agreed to hear the merits of the case. He lost on the merits, but at least he had the satisfaction of having his day in court. The Kavanaugh I know is likely to be reluctant to find discretion in the law. He will see in hard and fast rules that bind him. But where he does see discretion, at least in one instance, he was generous and open to the appeal of the little guy, and that, in the end, isn't a bad way to be. Greg in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, Amy, this one is for you.
Okay.
We will know that we have a problem with this candidate for the Supreme Court when CNN breaks bad on his wife for bringing a bad snack to the basketball game.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for the call, Greg. Yeah.
It's true. It's all about the snacks.
Jeff and Berwyn.
Greetings, Dan and Amy. With all the hysteria and histrionics that these snowflakes and SJWs are doing for what is relatively a mild, mainstream kind of judge, what are they going to do when Ginsburg croaks? Because it's going to be sooner rather than later. It's certainly going to be within the 6.5 years that Trump is going to be president. I mean, what rabbit are they going to be able to pull out of their hat after what they're doing here to Kavanaugh? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but do you get my point?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for
They're going nuts over a relatively mild fellow, and when she gets replaced, they're going to have a 6-3 permanent majority, and even Breyer might get replaced because he's 81.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, heads will pop off. There's no question. Thanks for the call, Jeff.
But RBG, we pray for her every Sunday in church. She's on our prayer list.
Good for you.
I'm just saying, she's on the sheet. I'll bring it in for you.
No, thank you. Mike on the north side.
Good morning. Hey, this is bad news for Eddie Ford of Barrington Hills. He can never be appointed to the Supreme Court because in the early 90s, he bought season tickets for the White Sox, and I paid cash for my 20 games. And I don't know if he ever reported it to the IRS, so they'll be digging in on him next. What is this BS with Kavanaugh? Don't they know if they knock him out, they knock out 4 Democratic senators, and then when Trump has 56 Republican senators, they'll put someone even more conservative? What are they going to do next about Kavanaugh? They're going to go over his reading material? Because as a teenager, he checked out Death of a Salesman, so that means sloth. He checked out Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, that means he likes to use the N-word. And he checked out one of the most offensive books of all time, the Bible. Because even in the New Testament, where it says to give your money to the poor, it doesn't say anything about giving it to the government first and let them siphon most of it off. So that means he doesn't back socialism.
Thanks, Mike.
Good. You switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.com, or download the app to try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
Hey, I made the mistake of buying these fancy Egyptian cotton sheets that were so expensive when I could have just gone to MyPillow.com and bought Mike Lindell's American-made sheets. They're better than the 700 count thread count. And you can get a pair too if you go to MyPillow.com, type in Amy in the promo code, and you'll get 30% off those awesome bed sheets. They also have the buy one, get one free offer. If you buy a MyPillow, you get the second one for free. And if you haven't heard, even our 45th president mentioned that he sleeps on a MyPillow. That's right. Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, was at that rally in Fargo last month, and the president recognized him and endorsed MyPillow on national TV. I love it because you can move the fill to give you the support you need if you sleep on your back or side. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. And again, MyPillow, made in America, washable, dryable, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. There is nothing to lose. Go to MyPillow.com. Check out their pet beds, which are washable and dryable. They just have a bunch of stuff. MyPillow.com. Type Amy in the promo code for 30% off, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
If you did not purchase health insurance coverage during the 2017 open enrollment, I can help you purchase a PPO health insurance plan at any time during the year. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other health insurance carriers. If you are between the ages of 19 and 64, you are automatically paying for maternity coverage whether you want the coverage or not. If you are a non-smoking 50-year-old male or female living in the city of Chicago, the monthly premium rate for a 100% tax-deductible health savings account PPO plan would be $590 per month. But I can show you how to eliminate the mandatory maternity benefit and lower your monthly premiums down to approximately $240 per month. To see if you qualify or for more information, call me, Tom Marabali, at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
There's a place where you can get custom metal products. If you manage a commercial kitchen, hotel, condo building, or food-grade manufacturing plant, then no matter the type of metal or size of the project, the skillfully trained fabrication team at Vans Industrial has you covered.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Custom metal fabrication is the backbone of my company. We fabricate stainless steel countertops, wall coverings, hoods, landscape planter boxes, industrial fan housings, and more. Vans Industrial uses all types of alloys like carbon steel, aluminum, brass, and polished stainless steel. And we have a laser cutting machine. Our laser can customize almost any project. Our team can design, fabricate, and install your project today.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. That's 833-VANS-IND. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com. Vans Industrial, customizing for you, the customer.
5:57. Let's get an update on the Chicago roads this morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound Adams Tollway. Traffic stop and go approaching the River Road Toll. Those delays continue onto the Kennedy Expressway most of the way to Canfield. 23 minutes, so here to downtown. Outbound still fine at 20. The Edens is clear. Eisenhower inbound delays are from Wolf to First Avenue. 36 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 29. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 17 minutes, I-80 to the Merge. Beach at 421. Northbound Tri-State at Stop and Go from the Eisenhower to the Bensonville Bridge. Traffic service of Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, clouds and sun, high 90. Mainly clear night, low 72. Clouds and sun tomorrow. More humid, high 94. Partly cloudy and humid at night, low 74. A shower or thunderstorm around Saturday, high 90. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
71 at O'Hare, the news, a service of KHE Distributors. It's time to join the KHE team. As a delivery driver, KHE offers great benefits, your safety first, and highly competitive wages. 800-800-2175. 800-800-2175. KHE, we hire to retire. 5:59. Here are the stories we're following this morning on AM 560 The Answer. Health officials are looking into 9 new cases of Legionnaire's disease, but these are in McHenry County. Vice President Mike Pence will be in the Chicago area tomorrow, the VP making a stop at the Westin O'Hare to discuss President Trump's tax cuts and back U.S. Representative Peter Roskam for re-election. 4 Illinois legislators and 6 Chicago aldermen are joining others across the country calling for the disbanding of ICE. Faculty members at the Carbondale campus of Southern Illinois University say they've lost faith in their university president. White Sox blanked the Cardinals. Giants clipped the Cubs 5-4 in San Francisco. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
President Trump says our commitment to NATO remains very strong. This is a Fox News alert. I'm Chris Foster. The president, speaking after an emergency meeting at the NATO summit in Belgium, called after he complained about our allies' defense spending.
I let them know that I was extremely unhappy with what was happening, and they have substantially upped their commitment,
Live in Brussels, here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, the president claiming victory in his campaign to get NATO allies spending more on defense.
Everyone's agreed to substantially up their commitment. They're going to up it at levels that they've never thought of before.
Speaking at a news conference here moments ago, he called the NATO alliance very unified, very strong, no problem. We don't yet have details of the new commitments he just announced, but the president claiming numbers are going up like a rocket ship. Chris?
Okay, Simon, thanks. An FBI agent who exchanged text messages insulting President Trump will speak publicly for the first time today, testifying at a joint House committee hearing. Fox's Ellison Barber's in D.C.
The AP says that Peter Strzok is expected to tell lawmakers that his work has never been tainted by political bias. He is, of course, expected to be on Capitol Hill. Democrats say that all of this is part of a political game aimed at discrediting the special counsel investigation. Strzok previously sat down with lawmakers for 11 hours. Democrats are now calling on Republicans to release a full transcript of that closed-door deposition.
The Strzok hearing starts at 10 Eastern. The porn star Stormy Daniels is arrested at a strip club in Columbus, Ohio, accused of letting customers touch her during her performance. That's against an Ohio law called the Community Defense Act. Her lawyer says this was a politically motivated sting operation, a complete setup. Daniels is suing President Trump and his former attorney to break a non-disclosure agreement she signed just before the 2016 election. Fox News, fair and balanced.
As press secretary for President Trump, Sean Spicer had a front row seat to history. And in his new book, he reveals details about what really happened behind the scenes during the campaign and the early days of the administration. On Wednesday, August 8th, Sean Spicer is coming to Chicago. Meet Sean Spicer and get a copy of his new book, The Briefing, at the Museum of Broadcast Communications. Tickets are absolutely free. Thanks to healthinsurancementors.com. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/briefing. That's 560theanswer.com/briefing.
Interesting resume, Miss Lee. Thanks. According to your personal interests, I see you're, into conversation?
Oops, typo. I'm into conservation. That's why I support the forest preserves of Cook County.
Oh.
70,000 acres of wild and wonderful.
Very impressive.
They certainly are.
To learn more, visit fpdcc.com. Sponsored by the Forest Preserves of Cook County and aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal, and for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Call for your free sample now. 800-787-1010. 800-787-1010.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event. And now, while selection is best, it's the best time to buy. With amazing offers across a full lineup of Ford vehicles, now is the time to make summer go right with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Stop by a local Ford store or shop online at buyfordnow.com, because there is no better time than right now to get behind the wheel of a new Ford during the Ford Summer Sales Event. The Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 72 months plus $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash on a great lineup of Ford SUVs. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 72 months at $1,389 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Not available on Expedition. For all offers, take new retail delivery from authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
Risk mitigation is an important consideration that smart companies pay attention to in today's complicated business climate. Some of the greatest risks occur when your company hires new employees or when you execute new business financial relationships. When your company hires, leases, or conducts financial transactions, decisions are critical. That's why veteran-owned and operated Global Verification Network is a company you should know. Startups to Fortune 100s trust Global Verification Network, and so should you. They're a background screening and investigative services company dedicated to expert, timely, and affordable background screening services for employment, tenant screening, and business due diligence. Global Verification Network is headquartered in Chicagoland, a federally recognized veteran-owned small business, and never offshores data like many competitors. To request your company's risk analysis without obligation or cost, visit mygvn.com or call 877-695-1179 or online at mygvn.com. Global Verification Network, the risk mitigation experts, 877-695-1179.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. A tragedy in Chicago yesterday. An Irishman lost his job in county government. And that's something that we have to remark upon because it's never happened before.
No.
But Cook County Forest Preserve police officer Patrick Connor, you go.
Yeah, and it was on the eve of a hearing where he was going to explain himself to the Internal Affairs Disciplinary Hearing Board to explain, why he didn't do anything, why he was standing around kind of dragging his feet when a 24-year-old woman was wearing a Puerto Rican T-shirt at the Forest Preserve. That's where and she was confronted by a pretty, I'd say he was drunk, maybe we could use the word allegedly drunk man who didn't like her T-shirt and didn't think she was being patriotic.
Officer, can you please, I'm renting this area. And he's harassing me about the shirt that I'm wearing.
It was her 24th birthday party, and as this man approached the woman behind the cell phone camera, she started rolling.
You should not be wearing that in the United States of America.
Okay.
Are you a citizen?
Yes, I am a citizen.
Are you a United States citizen?
Can you please get away from me?
Then you should not be
Can
wearing
you please get away from me?
Wearing United States of
Officer,
America.
Officer, I feel highly uncomfortable.
So do I.
Grab him.
I feel highly uncomfortable too, officer.
Well, it was 6 minutes, and then snaps of it were broken down and put onto social media, and eventually 3 million people have viewed this.
Right.
And it caught the governor of Puerto Rico's attention, and he was demanding that this officer be fired. Tony Preckwinkle, our Cook County Board president, valiantly picked up the phone, called the governor of Puerto Rico to apologize. And it became an international scandal.
So has Officer Connor awakened yet? Is he? What was he doing during that when that woman petitioned him for a little help?
Well, he was standing with his hands underneath his bulletproof vest. As you can see, his gun is there, holstered properly.
Sure.
Kind of walking around. Doop, 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 doop. I mean, literally, I watched all 36 minutes of it, and he's kind of circling. He goes in frame, then he goes out of frame. Doop, doop, and he's kind of hanging around the guy as if they know each other. As if he's a frequent visitor of the Forest Preserve.
Was he able to use his words and communicate anything to the woman who asked him for help?
No, he wasn't speaking much at all. If I don't even think I heard him speak. That's a good question. But then you see him, he's like a turtle, shoulders down, kind of moving in and out. But at the end, when other officers arrive,
Sure, this calls for reinforcements. I need backup here.
it's so because there's nobody else around. The field is empty. Nobody else is in the pavilion.
I got an elderly crank who's yelling at a woman about her T-shirt. I don't know what to do.
Help me. But maybe he didn't know what to do. Maybe he didn't have the proper training, and that's what one of the commissioners,
Are you out of your mind?
Chuy Garcia, claimed the same thing that I said, that we need to properly train these Cook County Forest Preserve police officers so that they know what to do when a situation like this arises.
Yeah, it's a baffling situation. I mean, seriously, what could he have done? There's nothing.
What should he have done?
There's nothing he could have done.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I can't think of anything he could have done. Can you?
Yes, I could think of a lot of things he could have done.
What? I have no idea.
But before I get to that, just so you know how it ends, after 36 minutes, I watched it so you don't have to. Eventually, after help arrives, he does sit down with the drunk guy and takes a statement from him. So he did do something. And even his police union said, wait, you haven't looked at the whole tape. This is just a snippet of what happened. He's got a right to due process. But last night, he called it quits. And now he's not going to be interviewed.
Too much pressure in that job. That's a pressure cooker. Cook County Forest Preserve Police.
All they do is, go around and check to make sure people have permits to use pavilions.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes people want the same pavilion, so they think it's first come, first served, but you've got to apply for that permit earlier in the year.
Thank you for that.
What they do.
This is great.
Well,
you should be a PIO for Cook County government. It's fascinating. So here's the thing. When does he get appointed to be one of those $80,000 a year picnic table inspectors?
Oh,
he can't. He can't really be without a job. He's just got to be reassigned to another sinecure, right?
That's how much money they make. Picnic table inspectors.
Yeah, you think those picnic tables inspect themselves? You could have a tragic picnic table accident where people could die, Amy. These are public safety professionals.
What he should have done.
Why did he quit? What did he say in a statement? Or does he not? Is he?
He doesn't. I don't know if he's.
Is he able to communicate? Written word.
All we know is, according
Semaphore,
to the union lawyer,
anything.
The union lawyer says that Connor has been, quote unquote, very stressed in the wake of this viral video.
Yeah.
But he was eager to cooperate with investigators and get the whole story out there, but then decided at the last minute to just resign.
Spend more time with his family.
He has a decorated career.
Decorated at the Forest Preserve, does he?
He's been on the force without incident for 10 years. So he's doing it.
Could you offer?
Dedicated a decade of his life to this call.
Oh, good. I'm glad he vested for a pension. Thank goodness. Can you just run us through some of his career highlights? At the Forest Preserve?
He's been a union member for 10 years.
Yes.
No prior incidents. There you go.
No
my
prior
guy's got a
incidents.
clean record.
Boy, that's going to be a heck of a retirement party they throw him. I remember year one when he didn't have any incidents, and then year two, and year three. Yeah, that's quite a string of accomplishments that he's put together.
But people still they think that he should have been fired. Now, his pension, since he resigned, is his pension safe, Dan? Right? If you resign from your job, are you okay?
Yeah.
Even if you're fired,
you
can you still get
vest after? I assume it's the same as. I think it's 10 years. So you vest after 10 years. So yes, for people that are worried about the Cook County Forest Preserve police officers' pension, but people that want to make sure that an Irishman doesn't lose his pension in the city of Chicago, that somebody who had a decorated career of 10 years of doing nothing without incident doesn't lose his 7-figure guaranteed pension. Those people, please, let me allay your fears. That pension is safe. It's not funded.
No.
But it's safe on paper.
As for the person, Tribus, who apparently, they're deciding whether or not to charge him with a hate crime. She said, he didn't touch her, but he's been charged with a felony for what? She said that he pointed his finger in her face. What he did was wrong, and it was stupid, and clearly Puerto Ricans are Americans. Duh, he didn't know that. He even, when in his drunk rant, he said, "You can't even vote for president." And they can in the primary if you live on the island. If you live here, you can vote in the primary and the general election.
Well, you can do some tutorial with Tribus on your free time. Let's talk.
Let's go back to the
Let's talk at the level that our audience understands the world, not the Cook County Forest Preserve police officer, and this knucklehead that was accosting this woman. What I'd like to get a count, dollar figure, and as well as just a personnel count. How many people ultimately were involved in this case? How much time was spent? How much money spent?
Well, I don't know how much time. I mean, after 10 days after it happened, before the video went viral, he was assigned to desk duty.
Sure.
So then somebody had to take his shift out on the beat.
Yeah.
Out on the floor. And there's 3 other officers that came for backup to help out.
That was a 4-person incident, is what you're saying. We need 4 officers.
Larry Tybus's mode of transportation was bike, so he wasn't going to.
We've got an old racist crank on a bike who's making fun of a woman's T-shirt. That's a 4-officer call.
I didn't even know. That's why
somebody call the president. Call Cook County President Preckwinkle. We got to loop her in this crisis that we got at the Forest Preserve. Yeah. Again, what could have been done?
He could have just said to the drunk guy, "Hey, back off. She rented this space. She has a permit. Just go away. Hit the road, buddy. Just leave." But he didn't, because I think there's a relationship there. I think they might be friends. 312-642-5600 is our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Dan in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, I got to call you out, man. What's about this bigotry of the Irishman?
Yeah.
You keep saying he's an Irishman. Would you say that against a Muslim or
I don't like
African American?
I don't
What's
like
up with that,
I don't like the Irish.
You don't like us mixed?
No.
You don't like us mixed?
No.
You are Irish, I bet.
We'll settle this, huh? We'll do like the old Notre Dame. Take care of it.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Yeah. No,
I think you're Irish.
Yeah, but you know how I hate white people.
I know.
Especially the Irish that have, run Chicago.
Yeah.
All their idiot cousins like Patrick Connor, who get no-show jobs at the Cook County Forest Preserve. Well, they can't adjudicate a conversation between.
But he's given Chicago yet another black eye on an international stage.
God.
Hey, when you have a whole island against you demanding that you be, I'm sure he's going to get death threats soon.
Yeah. Louis Gutierrez hasn't given Chicago a black eye.
Oh, no.
But it's this, do-nothing doofus who, was just another flunky on the Cook County government payroll. He's the real problem in Chicago. It's not a leadership level problem. It's a flunky problem. It's idiot nephews. That's the real problem in Chicago. We need that Longshanks drop from Braveheart.
Oh.
The Irish.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
We have a staff member who's Irish, Quinn McCarthy. You want to say anything to him? Apologize to Pat?
Yeah.
Quinn?
No, I don't like the Irish.
Okay. Forecast for today, it's going to get hot around here, that's for sure. We're going to have sun and, of course, unhealthy air quality for sensitive groups yet again today. So basically, it's going to be hot and humid, and check on your elderly friends to make sure they're okay. Dan, are you okay?
Steve on 88. The officer was trying to remember how they do it down in Puerto Rico. That would have been great if
somebody played the song Despacito. Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah. If only Steve on 88 were a Cook County Forest Preserve officer.
Tonight, clear, a low of just 72 degrees. And for Friday, it's going to be hot and humid, times of clouds and sun. Another warm one, folks, a high of 93 degrees. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's the one and only Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Dan. Boarding northbound Tri-State. Traffic getting a little heavy between 95th and 87th this morning. And then it's stop and go from Roosevelt to North Avenue and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. It's about Adams Tollway. A little congested now, approaching the River Road Toll. Then the delays continue on the Kennedy, most of the way to Foster, also from Fullerton to North Avenue. 24 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 43 minutes, 390 to the Burn Circle. Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the Merge. Bishop Ford, 24. Northwest Indiana's 5. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio.
Safety is what I preach as far as from an investment philosophy to protect your money. However, putting your money in CDs is not the only way to get safety. The whole problem is that people are not aware of what other options are available to create that safety net for your 401k or your IRAs.
Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Looking for a fun summer vacation idea? Charlottesville in Albemarle County, Virginia is a short and easy trip with daily nonstop flights on 2 airlines from O'Hare. Tour the homes of former Presidents Jefferson, Monroe, and Madison. Sip wine at one of the area's 30-plus wineries. Take a hike in Shenandoah National Park. Dine al fresco at one of the many farm-to-table restaurants, or stroll down one of the longest pedestrian malls in the country. Plan your trip today at visitcharlottesville.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, Chris Cornell. More black eyes in Chicago, since this international incident with this Dumas, the Cook County Forest Preserve.
His name's Patrick Connor. Okay?
Yeah, she'll live in infamy. Or for 5 minutes from now when I forget it. Yeah, exactly.
You've got to watch the video.
How about this? Harry Anderson lives. He's apparently a circuit court judge. Judge in Chicago charged with carrying a concealed weapon in a prohibited area after he walked in the courthouse and gun fell out of his coat.
Did you see the video?
Yeah.
I think was he in the? I thought he was in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fell out, but he was trying to.
The lobby.
He was trying to pick it up,
Yeah.
real quietly and.
Yeah, he retrieved the gun, put it in his pants, then he, went on to work his 15 minutes for the day. Then he went home.
Well, but judges always have threats. And it doesn't matter if you're federal level, county level, state level.
They're also in a secure building with armed security, something that the average citizen doesn't enjoy. And these are the same people who suggest the average citizen shouldn't be in charge of protecting himself.
Well, maybe he forgot it. He forgot that it was in his jacket.
Okay.
Who is that?
That's
state
not really
rep?
the
Who
point.
was the state rep with the bow tie?
Donnie Trotter,
Donnie Trotter,
State Senator at O'Hare. Yeah.
He forgot that.
I get it. I mean, it's different standards for the ruling class. And then there's this story too. Even when Chicagoans travel, they're subject to violence outside of the city. Something about being from Chicago.
My tease on this was no arms, no problem.
That's so insensitive.
You can still stab. You don't need no stinking arms to be violent.
It's a great Treasure of Sierra Madre paraphrase you just did.
Thank you.
Very
I'm going to
nice.
go now.
Stay tuned. Amy is going to start telling some no arms, no legs jokes.
What's a guy with no arms and no legs at your front door? Matt.
Boy, I apologize to the audience.
What's a guy with no arms and no legs in the water? Bob.
I know. We all graduated 4th grade, Amy. Go, keep going. What else you got?
Anybody? Mike
What's a
Scott?
guy with no arms on South Beach and a pair of scissors?
Homicidal.
Well, opinions vary. Jonathan Crenshaw. He's a street artist, apparently with some renown in Miami Beach.
He's good with his toes. He's a street art. I mean, he paints with his toes.
Right. He
and
doesn't
eats
have
with
arms.
his toes. He does everything with his toes.
He also stabs people with scissors with his feet, his toes. He stabbed 22-year-old Cesar Coronado from Chicago just after midnight on Tuesday. Coronado apparently traveling with a female friend. Crenshaw said he was lying down. This is the street artist.
Yeah.
Said he was lying down when Coronado approached him and punched him in the head. That's something a Chicagoan would do. Police say Crenshaw then stabbed him twice and fled. He does have legs.
Right, so he
can
fled.
flee.
Okay.
But Coronado's friend tells us a different story. She said they approached Crenshaw near an intersection, asked for directions, and he suddenly jumped up and stabbed Coronado in the arm.
Well, how could he jump up and stab him in the arm if he has scissors in his feet and he can't stand up? Your Honor. I read that story too, and I went, no, how can you do... Wah!
Yeah.
Stab?
He could.
I mean, think about it. Get on the ground, stand up, and stab somebody.
He could get to his feet, and he could have the scissors at the ready. And since he's proficient with his feet, proficient enough to make art with his feet, that he used his foot to, stab Coronado twice. Yeah. What do you think about that?
What would you call a guy, a person with no arms and no legs on a tennis court? A net.
I apologize again for Amy's
this is the best
Amy
one.
Dice Clay's humor.
What would you call a person with no arms and no legs stuck in a fence? Barb.
We're going to need a laugh track in the
Here's a good
studio.
one. What would you call a person with no arms and no legs in your mailbox? Bill. Get it?
I'm embarrassed for you.
I think it's great.
Dan in Lake Zurich, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I just wanted to know if you guys know what two guys with no arms and no legs over a window are called.
Two guys with
Curtain rod.
See. Oh, here's a good
Thanks so much, Dan.
What
I
do you
really
call
appreciate
a person with no arms and no legs who has no head? Chester. Get it? Chester. Oh, here's a good one. What would you call a person with no arms and no legs put through a meat grinder?
Cook County Forest Preserve police officer.
Chuck.
Jim in Tampa.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. What's a guy with no arms, no legs hanging on the wall?
Art.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't cheat.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Kindred spirits, you and Amy.
What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs in your kitchen sink? Dawn.
You call a guy Dawn?
Well, it's a person. What do you call a person with no arms and no legs hanging from a chandelier? Crystal.
I can't wait to see how this plays out at your appearance at Zany's later in the week.
Can I just do a few more?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Sure.
What do you call a person with no
In for a
arms and
penny,
no
in for a
legs?
pound at this point.
What do you call a person with no arms and no legs in a stream? Brooke. Brooke, get it?
I do get it.
What do you call a person with no arms and no legs who is on the edge of a green? Come on, say it.
Fringe.
Chip.
Okay.
This one I don't get, but I have to say it. What do you call a person with
these
no
are complicated
arms,
jokes, so
with
it's
no
not...
No, this one I don't get. What do you call a person with no arms and no legs in a tiger cage?
Siegfried.
Claude. Get it? Claude.
Yes. Yes, I do get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Have you satisfied your appetite for these jokes?
Wait. What do you call a person with no arms and no legs in a sugar vat? Candy.
Jonathan Crenshaw, the street artist, does have a record. He's got multiple charges of battering police with his feet, apparently. Also includes trespassing, disorderly intoxication arrests. He served 180 days in jail for felony batter of a police officer in 2014.
Wow. Well, now the story's no fun.
Well,
Dan?
It is sort of fun. How do you get beat up by a guy with no arms unless you're a Cook County Forest Preserve police officer?
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to take it up a notch or two and talk to former Attorney General of the United States. See how Alberto Gonzalez likes Amy's no arms, no legs jokes.
What's the difference between Swedes and mosquitoes?
What?
Mosquitoes are only annoying in the summer.
Oh, very good. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Amy later.
Thank you. Very good. Mike's opening, yeah. All right, Alberto Gonzalez at 6:36.
But here's Mike Scott.
71 degrees outside this morning, fair skies. President Trump says a tremendous amount of progress has been made in the last 2 days of NATO meetings wrapping up today.
That NATO is much stronger now than it was 2 days ago. I think that NATO was not doing what they were supposed to be doing, a lot of the countries, and we were doing much more than we should have been doing. Frankly, we were carrying too much of a burden. That's why we call it burden sharing.
The president telling reporters today NATO's doing much better than before he arrived in Brussels with his demands to take that financial burden off the U.S. A federal judge will not reverse his order transferring former Trump campaign chief Paul Manafort to a different jail. Manafort's legal team had asked the judge to allow him to remain at the Northern Neck Regional Jail in Virginia. They say he's safe there. 500 people have gotten ill with an E. coli infection after visiting a zip line attraction at a popular Tennessee resort town. State health officials say they've confirmed the bacteria contaminated well water used at the zip line in Gatlinburg. Health officials are looking into 9 cases of Legionnaire's disease in McHenry County. County's Department of Health says the people were diagnosed from June 7th to July 1st. They live in different locations across the county and range in age from 46 to 82. Relatives say a suburban Chicago man who was killed by police apparently fired at officers because he was distraught over financial woes. Frank Dripps was fatally shot July 4, the climax of an overnight standoff in South Elgin. Tickets for a Bears practice in August at Vernon Hills High School will be made available on the team's website next week. High School District 128 announced that 5,000 free tickets will be accessible for fans beginning on July 18 at 10 a.m. Registration on the Bears website is required in order to gain entry to the Vernon Hills High School campus. For that practice, tickets are limited to 4 per order if you'd like to go. White Sox blanked the Cardinals 4-0. Giants clipped the Cubs in 13, 5-4. France and Croatia in the World Cup final on Sunday. The news service of KeHE Distributors. It's an exciting time to join the KeHE team as a delivery driver. KeHE offers great benefits, your safety first, and highly competitive wages. Call 800-800-2175, 1-800-800-2175. KeHE, we hire to retire. 6:32 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
Dennis Prager doesn't normally resort to name calling, but sometimes the shoe fits.
I hate calling people names, but it has come to the point where there are people on the left now so freely use Nazi that I think calling them an arrogant fool is somewhat mild, would you say, compared to Nazi?
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
What I suffer from is anxiety, along with depression. But I feel the anxiety triggers depression more times than not. My first experience with HPR was my initial interview. It was welcoming. It felt very good. I saw results pretty much immediately. Even after my first treatment, I felt different than when I came in. I think HPR could work for pretty much anyone. I think that what HPR has done for me was awaken a part of my brain that either stopped working or never worked. I think everybody can benefit from HPR. I'm Alex, and HPR Treatments has helped save my life.
HPR centers in Chicagoland and Milwaukee offer TMS therapy. In just a few weeks, you can change your life, and it's FDA cleared. It's covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Medicare. Cure or remission. Get a free consultation. 800-604-0208. 800-604-0208. HPR Centers. Go to endmydepression.com.
Remember this promise from Barack Obama?
And if you already have health care, then we're going to reduce costs an average of $2,500 per family on premiums.
The truth is, premiums in the individual under 65 market have more than doubled since the ACA exchanges opened in 2014, especially for the millions of Americans who do not qualify for subsidies. If you're healthy and do not need coverage for pre-existing conditions, premiums are much lower in the non-ACA health insurance market. These policies will keep you consistently insured all year long, and they include a nationwide PPO. And there's no one better to help you navigate the Obamacare maze than C. Stephen Tucker. He's a 20-year licensed broker who I know and trust, who's been educating listeners for more than 6 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com. That's healthinsurancementors.com. Or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Tom Goleb, Chief Financial Officer of Navitas Systems, a leader in the next generation of advanced battery technology and a customer of Signature Bank. A few years ago, I heard Signature Bank on an AM 560 radio ad, just as our previous commercial bank was being acquired. I knew Mick O'Rourke and Kevin Bastuga from a prior enterprise. I valued my relationship with them, and the way they worked earned my trust and my business. So I decided to give Signature Bank a call. They took the time to understand our early-stage technology company that has its own set of challenges. Signature Bank took care of us, and now we are satisfied customers.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It is 6:36. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Eisenhower Expressway has a big traffic jam from York to St. Charles, where there's a crash in the two right lanes. Then it's heavy 25th most of the way into downtown Chicago. It's 56 minutes, 390 to downtown, 32 from Mannheim outbound. There are Gapers delays, 48 minutes out to 390. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Cook to Junction, outbound 22. Kennedy, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22. Stevenson, looking at 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 35. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State heavy, Southwest Highway to Archer, Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, and is jammed. Roosevelt to Irving Park. Traffic, service of Aruba Tourism. Imagine if your daily commute was from your beach chair right to the crystal blue Caribbean Sea. It's time for an escape to sunny Aruba. Hop a daily nonstop flight from O'Hare to one happy island. Plan your Aruba vacation today at aruba.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Appears the sun very warm. It's an unhealthy air day, an ozone action day, if you will. High near 90, clear and warm 72 overnight. 71 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight, starting at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Brett Kavanaugh is President Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, of course, and I think we should get these hearings scheduled and get that confirmation vote going post-haste.
Yeah, did you hear what he was doing yesterday? He was helping the homeless, something that he always does, and it was scheduled long before he was nominated to the Supreme Court.
That is the kind of activity
that
has him properly characterized as a threat to our very way of life in this country. That's not me saying that. That's Yale law students, alumni, professors. Judge Kavanaugh's nomination presents an emergency for democratic life, small d, for our safety and freedom. I'm scared for the future of our country. Kavanaugh is a menace. Yale's celebration of his achievements is motivated by nothing more than its lust for proximity to power and prestige, they continue. We've got a real crisis on our hands, as evidenced by that activity that you mentioned.
Scandalous.
Properly characterized by the best and brightest that Yale has to offer. In addition, we have now learned that in 2016, Brett Kavanaugh bought a bunch of baseball tickets to Washington Nationals games. I don't know how this guy lives with himself.
I mean, and then he paid off his credit cards too, and his friends that he bought tickets for paid him back.
It's a fascinating story of intrigue.
If this is all they have on him, there's no there.
Well, I mean, look, what if Bryce Harper is involved in a case before the high court? Then Judge Kavanaugh will have to recuse himself. We can't have that, can we? For expert legal insight on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend, former U.S. Attorney General of the United States, former counsel to the President, and now the Dean of Belmont University School of Law in Nashville. Also, his latest book, True Faith and Allegiance. He is Alberto Gonzalez. Alberto Gonzalez, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good morning. And I'm also a big baseball fan,
boy.
I admire what Brett Kavanaugh did. That's a good thing.
Is that why you were not nominated to the high court, your fandom of the Nationals?
I'm not a fan of it. I grew up in Houston, so I'm a big Houston Astros fan.
Oh, well, best team in baseball right there. So what about Brett Kavanaugh? I assume you had interaction with him during your time at the White House when he was at the White House?
Sure, he worked for me for 2.5 years, so I got to know Brett quite well, and I have to applaud President Trump. I think he's made an excellent choice, and I think over time, people are going to see that Brett is going to be fair and open-minded in all these cases. He's very smart, but not arrogant. I've yet to meet anybody who has spent significant time with Brett, even people that work for him, who doesn't respect him with just a very genuine person. And so we all enjoyed working with him. He was a great colleague in the White House, and I think he'll do a good job on the court.
Do you think he has any moderate tendencies? I mean, I've been hearing that he's a conservative, but he may become a moderate once he is sworn in. Is that?
I don't know what that means. When people describe that, what they're saying or they're worried about is whether or not on various social issues will he not support their views on where the court should go on social issues. I think Brett's just going to try the very best to be totally objective, and whatever the text of the Constitution, he's going to look carefully at precedents and look carefully at the text of statutes. He has always impressed me as someone who believes strongly in judicial restraint, understanding that there are just some issues the courts have no business weighing in on, that should be rightly left to the elected branches who are accountable to the people. So I just, whether I don't know what that means, moderate tendencies. I think Brett's going to be fair and open-minded, and I think that's all we can expect of a justice on the Supreme Court.
Just a little bit more of, since you've had so much personal experience with him, just if you could color in your interactions with him a little bit more, the kind of person he is, how he treated colleagues. I know, of course, he met his wife during his time at the Bush White House, too. So, I mean, just sort of, him as a three-dimensional human being, not just a guy in a black robe.
Right. Well, he has a good sense of humor. He loves sports. there were times when I would take Brett and some of the other lawyers out to play golf at Andrews Air Force Base. We did that from time to time. So he's a good athlete, and obviously still coaches with his daughter's basketball teams. But as I said, he's just very thoughtful, no snap judgments, a good listener. I led a team of superstar lawyers. I think we had like 12 lawyers, 8 of them clerked in the U.S. Supreme Court. These were all, this was a superstar team of lawyers. And I think, Brett was very well respected by this team. He and another lawyer, Brad Berenson, were probably the most senior. And so I think the other lawyers kind of looked to them. And, for example, Brad and Brett were responsible for setting up the process we put in place to examine judges and recommend judges, including the Supreme Court, to President Bush. And so, I've got nothing but good things to say about Brett Kavanaugh. And as I said, I think he's just going to do a superb job on the court. And
if confirmed, he would make history because they need to have 2 former clerks from the same justice serving on the court together, that being Justice Kennedy. Do you think he'll sail through these confirmation hearings?
No, I don't. I think it's going to be a difficult process. I think Brett, having worked in the White House and having worked to get judges confirmed, not Supreme Court judges, but other circuit court judges and district court judges, Brett understands the process extremely well, and I think that's going to benefit him. He knows what he's going to have to go through. It's not going to be fair, but it is part of the process. I think he appreciates how pivotal this seat is viewed by many in America. So I think it'll be tough, and there'll be questions and allegations, accusations that'll be totally untrue and unfair, but Brett understands that. I think he's prepared his family for that, and they'll get through it. It's a tough process, and it should be tough. This is a lifetime appointment, and this is for a pivotal seat. So I would expect the members of the Senate to do their job and to carefully scrutinize this nominee. But I'm very hopeful, that it's going to be as fair as we might expect it. And but at the end of the day, given his qualifications and given what I know about him as a person, I expect him to be confirmed.
How do you react to the demagoguery of this letter penned by Yale law students and alumni and professors in opposition to Kavanaugh, an emergency to our very way of life in this country? I guess Elena Kagan, who hired Brett Kavanaugh to teach at Harvard Law, also presents such an emergency. I had no idea. But just in terms of the confirmation process, the scrutiny, it's not really scrutiny. It's just a bunch of politicians taking the opportunity to demagogue from one perspective or another. And so, how much of that really is productive for the American people in terms of inspiring confidence in the court and its members?
Well, that is a danger. I think that I was asked a few days ago about whether or not am I fearful that the court has become sort of more partisan and viewed as a political institution, and my response was I have more concern that the American people view it as such, and the kind of rhetoric that we're seeing today obviously contributes to that perception, and I think that's unfortunate. Law students, I respect law students, but obviously there's a lack of maturity sometimes in the things that are said, and even with respect to law professors who I deal with day to day. And everyone has a right to speak their opinion. I'd like to hope that they would those opinions would be based upon fact and not intended to spread fear. But again, as I said earlier, I think as long as Brett receives a fair hearing, and there will be unfair accusations and allegations made against him, but based on what I know, he's going to be confirmed.
The Federalist Society. Federalist Society is now being targeted by the left and mischaracterized by the left because it's exhibited success. And as David Brooks said in a column over the weekend and on PBS NewsHour, they've done the hard work of putting together talented people who exhibit professional excellence over the last 35 years, and those individuals like Brett Kavanaugh are the fruits of that labor. And I wonder, Leonard Leo, who's kind of been President Trump's point man on the Supreme Court nominations, on leave from the Federalist Society. His Catholicism has been brought into question, much like Amy Coney Barrett's was by DiFi during her confirmation. So it's not just kind of the political rhetoric. You're also getting into real barbs directed at organizations and individuals based on their faith as well. That seems to be ratcheting up, and I wonder if you had any comment on that.
Yeah, I think that is unfair. I think also, I dealt with Leonard when I was in the White House and the Federalist Society, and obviously sought their input. But at the end of the day, I think Neil Gorsuch, if we had been in the White House and I was the White House counsel looking at two vacancies, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh would have been our selections as well, irrespective of any list, irrespective of any recommendation from the Federalist Society. So I don't know about spending energy in attacking organizations like the Federalist Society for these picks. Again, at the end of the day, I would worry more about the nominees than the actual process of how these nominees were chosen or recommended to the President of the United States. The White House consults and should consult with a wide variety of groups, organizations, people about these nominees. And, President Trump decided this is a process he wanted to use. And I think in a way, there are a lot of reasons why it was a good process, but also, when you put people on a list, it immediately puts a bullseye on them and immediately gives opponents opportunity and time to dig up dirt, to formulate a game plan to attack them in the event that they are nominated. So, people, I think, have viewed Brett Kavanaugh as a very serious contender ever since his name appeared on the list, and I'm sure they've been preparing for this. And that is the danger of doing something like a list. But from my perspective, what's really important at the end of the day is the nominee, not so much the process in which that nominee was discovered and recommended to the president.
Yeah, I mean, look, Tom Hardiman didn't get the nomination, and he's still being attacked by the DNC. Yeah,
that's right. It doesn't matter.
Alberto Gonzalez, former U.S. Attorney General, Dean of the Belmont University School of Law in Nashville now, also the author of the book, most recently, True Faith and Allegiance. Alberto Gonzalez, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Go Bruins. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I'm Lou Dobbs. The United States poised to become the world's #1 oil producer, and Twitter to begin removing suspicious accounts. Ruling against Chevron upheld. Those stories next.
How much do you spend on your pest control each year? $200, $300, or even $500 or more? What if I said you could spend less than $25 a year? Even less with promo code SAVE20, then listen up. G'day, I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free, and yes, it is possible to rid your home or business of unwanted pests for less than $25 per year. The answer is Plug-in Pest Free. Our best seller, the Plug-in Pest Free Pro, will cover up to 4,000 square feet. Now that's fair dinkum. For just a one-time cost of only $249, even less with promo code SAVE20, you'll be pest-free for years to come. Log on to gopestfree.com today. Use promo code SAVE20 and start driving those pests away. Don't spray and regret. Plug in and forget. Gopestfree.com. That's gopestfree.com. Promo code SAVE20.
The United States about to become the world's largest oil producer. The Energy Information Administration projecting that U.S. production will rise next year to nearly 12 million barrels a day. Twitter users may see a reduction in the number of their follower counts in the coming days. For many, this will amount to a reduction of 4 followers or fewer. Twitter has been working to remove fake accounts, bots, and abusive posts. Ecuador's highest court upholding a $9.5 billion judgment against oil giant Chevron, that for damages for decades of damage to rainforests. Plaintiffs say that it should pave the way for indigenous tribes to receive compensation for oil spills that contaminated their groundwater and soil. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
5 days from now, I drop Peyton and Eli off at summer camp at St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. Dan, I spent the day packing them up yesterday. I was really looking forward to them leaving on Sunday. It's a Sunday through Friday program, and I can't wait.
I doubt they're as excited about the camp as you are, because it's not possible to be that excited.
Right, because I've been there. I have seen the sprawling 110-acre complex. They have a golf course on there, soccer field, everything that you can imagine. It is a wonderful place. And now registration for fall enrollment has begun, grades 7 through 12. Again, it's happening now at St. John's Northwestern Military Academy, which is now providing young men and young women with an outstanding education and preparation for life. There's day boarding or full boarding, and this is not a place where juvenile delinquents go. There are people from all over the country, all over the world who attend this fine place. They've been shaping young minds since 1882. St. John's Northwestern Military Academy immerses young men and women in a culture of leadership. It really does inspire personal growth through a commitment to excellence in academics, spiritual and character development, athletics, and our military traditions. As a mom, I'm going to send my sons there for camp because St. John's resonates with the values that I want to see my children grow up with. To learn more about fall enrollment or just to schedule a visit, or if you have any questions, just call 1-800-SJ-CADET, C-A-D-E-T. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET, or visit their website, sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When the Senate was debating cutting taxes, Senator Joe Donnelly told us this.
If they bring a good tax bill before me that helps middle-class families, count me in every time.
But how did Senator Donnelly actually vote? Listen to President Trump.
Joe Donnelly voted no on tax cuts.
The Trump tax cuts are working for Indiana. Middle-class families will receive a tax cut of more than $2,000. Thanks to tax cuts, Hoosier businesses are hiring, raising wages, and paying employee bonuses. But Senator Donnelly voted no. It's time for Joe Donnelly to change course on tax cuts. Call Senator Joe Donnelly, 202-224-4814. Tell him the Trump tax cuts are working and to vote yes on S2687 to make our tax reforms permanent. Paid for by One Nation. www.onenationamerica.org.
Hey guys, Ken here from the Business Accelerator podcast, Today's Growth. If you had to choose a vehicle to take you up the rocky side of a mountain, would you choose a Ferrari or a Jeep? The Ferrari's faster, cooler, maybe even sexier, but if you have to get to the top, the Jeep's a better bet. I think we can agree getting to the top is not about the driver, it's the vehicle. Have you noticed people often pick their financial vehicle like they pick their cars? Washington Post shared that only 1 out of 4 people choose a job that uses their college degree. Why? Simple. Something more immediate, maybe cooler, maybe even sexier came along first. Shouldn't the main deciding factors for revenue generation be production or output? Should the cool factor have any weight in choosing someone's income? If getting to the top of the financial mountain is mission critical for you, why not add a few Jeeps to your garage? Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that makes it to the top every time? If so, you have to see the Jeeps lined up at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Risk mitigation is an important consideration that smart companies pay attention to in today's complicated business climate. Some of the greatest risks occur when your company hires new employees or when you execute new business financial relationships. When your company hires, leases, or conducts financial transactions, decisions are critical. That's why veteran-owned and operated Global Verification Network is a company you should know. Startups to Fortune 100s trust Global Verification Network, and so should you. They're a background screening and investigative services company dedicated to expert, timely, and affordable background screening services for employment, tenant screening, and business due diligence. Global Verification Network is headquartered in Chicagoland, a federally recognized veteran-owned small business, and never offshores data like many competitors. To request your company's risk analysis without obligation or cost, visit mygvn.com or call 877-695-1179 or online at mygvn.com. Global Verification Network, the risk mitigation experts, 877-695-1179.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Will Peter Strzok sacrifice himself to save his paramour, Lisa Page, from a contempt order? And at 7:07, 17 things you cannot say to a woman during an argument.
And later, this is going to be good. I will be taking notes. And later, Raj Shah is gone. We'll tell you what happened. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Two shot leaving an Airbnb party in Chicago. We'll have that story coming up after Fox News. The boy's foot injured by a train on the south side. White Sox blanked the Cardinals while the Giants clipped the Cubs in 13 innings. Of a sunny day ahead, very warm with a high near 90 and a low of 72 overnight. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
President Trump says he got what he wanted. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The president at a NATO summit in Belgium claims our allies have committed to spend more on their own defense. Live in Brussels covering the summit, Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, the president speaking after leaders here held emergency talks about his demand that they hike defense spending, having claimed Europe was taking advantage of the U.S.
The additional money that they will be putting up has been really amazing to see it. To see the level of spirit in that room is incredible.
He says he told allies he'd be very unhappy if they didn't up their commitments substantially. But there's some confusion, with the French president saying the talks only saw countries agreeing to stick to spending pledges they'd already made. Chris?
Simon, the president's spending today and tomorrow in England now, then Scotland, and then Finland for a meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday. Stormy Daniels has been arrested at a strip club in Columbus, Ohio, we're told by her lawyer, accused of letting people touch her during a performance.
The touching is a violation of state law. Her lawyers sent out a tweet saying Daniels was performing the same act she's performed across the nation at nearly 100 strip clubs. This was a setup and politically motivated. It reeks of desperation. Daniels claims to have had an affair with President Trump in 2006 when he was married. She's suing the president and his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, trying to get a non-disclosure agreement about it that she signed declared to be invalid.
Fox's Jill NATO. Stephen and Dwight Hammond, father and son ranchers pardoned by President Trump, are now out of federal prison. They're back home in Oregon. They were serving 5-year sentences under an anti-terrorism statute for starting fires on federal land to cover up illegal hunting and to save cattle feed from other fires started by lightning. Their sentencing inspired the armed takeover of a federal wildlife refuge 2 years ago. Fox News, fair and balanced.
President Trump has announced his pick for the Supreme Court.
72 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It is an air quality alert day in Chicagoland. The National Weather Service says an air pollution action day has been declared for Cook, McHenry, Lake, Kane, DuPage, Kendall, and Will counties. A woman is dead after an apartment building caught fire on Chicago's south side. Police tell us the blaze began early this morning in a building near 57th and Throop. The victim found dead in a bedroom on the second floor. Cause of the fire and death are under investigation. An 11-year-old boy this morning remains in stable condition after his foot was run over by a train on Chicago's south side. Police say the incident happened yesterday. The child was trying to retrieve a football from the train tracks near 89th and Delphin. The boy remains at Comer Children's Hospital. Health officials are probing 9 new cases of Legionnaire's disease, but these cases are in McHenry County. The Department of Health there says those who are impacted by that disease were diagnosed June 7 to July 1 and range in age from 46 to 82. No one is in custody after 2 were shot earlier this month, leaving a party at an Airbnb rental in Chicago's Logan Square neighborhood. Police say the shooting happened July 1st. Neighbor describes what happened after the shooting.
When the real gun battle broke out right here in front of the house, which for about a minute and a half sounded like an absolute war.
A man and woman hospitalized with gunshot wounds. Now Airbnb has removed the home's host and guest from their platform as they investigate that incident. The University of Illinois being sued in federal court by a female professor who claims she is being paid $12,000 to $56,000 less than her male colleagues. Industrial design professor Deanna McDonough filed that gender-based wage discrimination lawsuit this week, arguing the university retaliated against her for previous complaints about the disparity. White Sox blanked the Cardinals 4-0. Giants clipped the Cubs 5-4 in 13. France and Croatia in the World Cup final on Sunday. The news service of Aruba Tourism. Imagine if your daily commute was from your beach chair right to the crystal blue Caribbean Sea. It's time for an escape to sunny Aruba. Hop a daily nonstop flight from O'Hare to One Happy Island. Plan your Aruba vacation today at Aruba.com. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
President Trump has announced his pick for the Supreme Court.
It is my honor and privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
Now the spotlight shines on Brett Kavanaugh.
I will always strive to preserve the Constitution of the United States and the American rule of law.
Find out what happens next, right here on your station for Supreme Court confirmation answers. This is AM 560, The Answer.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event. And now, while selection is best, it's the best time to buy. With amazing offers across a full lineup of Ford vehicles, now is the time to make summer go right with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Stop by a local Ford store or shop online at buyfordnow.com, because there is no better time than right now to get behind the wheel of a new Ford during the Ford Summer Sales Event. The Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on the 2018 EcoSport. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens. And they need people who can keep up. With the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
On the streets of Miami, speed is the law. So when a corn dog goes after the wrong girl...
Oh, heartburn!
One man will bring her Tums Ultra Strength.
I'm on my way.
Don't get wrecked by heartburn. Nothing works faster than Tums.
Your mustard's fast, but my Tums are faster.
And with Tums on-the-go rolls, it's never been easier to leave heartburn behind.
You did it. Yeah. You gonna finish that corn dog?
Tums Ultra Strength, available in a store near you.
7:07 on AM 560, and it is time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Perma-Seal, 800-421-SEAL, and time to check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Eisenhower has heavy delays from 83 to St. Charles, where crash has moved to the right shoulder. Then it's slow in pockets from 25th to the Burn Circle. It's an hour and 5 minutes, 390 to downtown, 34 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 50 minutes to Manheim, and an hour and 10 minutes to 390. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Cook to the Junction. Outbound 23. Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 22 from Montrose, 16 on the Express. Outbound 34 to the airport. Mount Stevenson, delays start at Weber. Then it's an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 38 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound still 137 to the Lake Forest Oasis. Then from the Adams Tollway to the Irving Park Toll. Northbound Harlem to the Mile Long Bridge, the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and it's jammed from Cermak Toll to Irving Park. Northbound Veterans Memorial has slow pockets. Fountain to Maple, and from the Reagan Tollway to St. Charles. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups today. Very warm with clouds and sun. High today, 90. For tonight, mainly clear, low 72. Hot and more humid with clouds and sun tomorrow, high 94. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
73 right now at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. As a lot of people listen to the show regularly know, I'm a bit of a parenting expert.
You have two hypothetical children. Dan Jr.
Two fictional children.
Okay.
I'm like George Foreman. I name all my children Dan.
Okay, so you have Dan Jr. 1, Dan Jr. 2.
Dan the third.
And we have 3 children?
Dan Jr. and then Dan the third.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, they're all named Dan.
There's something I don't know?
Also, though, I dabble in relationships as well. Been doing some work in that space.
Yes.
Doing some work in that space.
So are you a marriage counselor or are you just
a relationship expert? You know, it's about making sure people get the best out of their relationships.
They bring the best out in each other?
Correct. It's the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. That's my approach to it.
Can I
As you
text
know,
my single friends right now to have them
they should probably
listen to the
up.
segment?
So I was triggered by this piece at Real Clear Life. 17 women reveal the worst things you can say during an argument. And normally if I get an argument, let me just give you an example of what I do, and then we'll bump it up against what the women say.
Okay.
All right. So what I'll say, I get in an argument with somebody that I'm
with
dating.
a lady friend.
Right. So fictional. It's like my children. I say, hey, look, calm down. I'm not listening to you. Your feelings are not important to me, and my ex, Jennifer, never caused me these problems. Does that strike you as a good way to approach?
Never tell anybody, first of all, to calm down.
All right.
Never.
Hey, take it easy.
No.
Would you chill out?
No. First of all, no hands. You just cannot say any of that.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636DA, Turnkey.pro. Text line. Can you help Amy to learn how to diffuse tense situations, arguments between her and her
lover?
Yeah, paramour. Yes.
And never, ever, ever bring up the ex. Ever compare who you're with now to the person that you used to be with.
So sometimes
even if that person is, if you're a widow, that you don't bring that up.
What about if like a compliment, like, oh, you look so beautiful today, like my ex Jennifer, except you're a little bigger. Something like that.
Or if she's wearing a tight T-shirt, you could say, those do come in bigger sizes.
Yeah, something helpful, right?
Yeah.
So here's what some of the women interviewed, including fellow relationship experts like myself, had to say. The big takeaways are don't say calm down.
Yeah, never. I think I've learned that with somebody that I know.
Don't
Dan?
Don't ignore them.
Oh, you mean this?
Let people feel their feelings.
Hey, I'm talking to you. Did you say something?
Yeah. It's just prattling on. It's like a Charlie Brown. Yeah, I just don't even hear it. And then name calling, also a big no-no.
Oh, name calling?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, maybe you'd have more energy to go to the show with me if you weren't such a fat ass. something like that. I'm giving an example.
Why Dan Proft is single.
What you don't do, I'm saying. Here's also too. This was a surprise to me. One thing a guy should never do during a heated argument. One woman, Joanna, 36, marketing coordinator, said, "Don't punch things. Don't punch walls, cars, doors, yourself, or your partner." Well, that's probably good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you got a hot streak in them. I mean, you know that there's a hot streak. Excuse me.
Oh, take it easy. I want to be attentive to your needs over there.
Want to be? I'm choking on water.
Oh, it's a dangerous substance. Also, the best way to diffuse an argument. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Here's the one that I think is sort of a kindred spirit with me in terms of advice and counsel to improve your relationships out there. Christine, she's 69 years old. She's retired. Yeah. What I've learned is to simply shut up. I've learned that arguing is counterproductive, and while shutting up is very difficult for me, it serves the best purpose.
But then what do you do with that pent-up anger?
Yeah, you deal with it.
You go work out?
Not my problem.
Wow, you're a really good counselor.
Yeah.
Not my problem. Next.
Yeah, go deal with your issues. Jeez, it's your problem. The one thing never to say is, I don't know why you even bother to argue with me when you know I'm always right.
There you go.
I just think in my head, because like most women, I usually am right, says Christine. Never attack your, as I mentioned, another no-go. Grace, 25, a microbiologist. Never attack your partner with low blows about their insecurities or insensitivities. They trust you with those things, so to use them in an argument is a way to wound them really quickly.
Yeah, don't shove it back in their face.
But isn't that the whole point of arguing, is to wound people quickly to finish them off, because it's a fight, and the point of the fight is to win. Isn't that?
Another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Why do you even get an argument if you're not trying to win?
Well, you just try to explain your reasoning and your feelings for certain situations.
What if your reasoning and feelings are inferior to my reasoning and feelings? Why can't you just say that I won?
Well, sometimes people say you're right. I understand your point of view. I understand where you're coming from.
That's not good enough
this is
for
how
me.
I feel, and this is how I want things to go.
No, this isn't about feelings.
And for women, it is about feelings.
And when you say, I understand what you're saying, you may have a point. That's not good enough. I want that scored. We have to keep score. And then we have to keep a log of all of our arguments to see who's won, so we can keep a record of it. And then we can go back, and it's like going back to remember like the 83 White Sox and Harold Baines' sacrifice fly that brought Juice Cruz in from third, and they won the AL title.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
It's like, you remember. So that's like remembering argument. Remember, this is like that argument where you were wrong and you lost to me in June of 2005 over going to your cousin's wedding. It's fun that way. It's a way to kind of bring a shared experience back. And strengthen the relationship, don't you think?
I have a good friend whose husband's a litigator. Every argument, she doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Doesn't stand a chance.
But that's the sport of it.
Oh, yeah. It's a sport, right.
Here's another woman, her approach to this. Melissa, 24, an attorney.
Oh, yeah.
She
a litigator, though?
I don't know. She says, when fighting with my husband, he knows that opting to leave me alone when I'm upset only makes me more upset.
Oh, she's one of those.
Sends the message she doesn't care about my feelings, and then I'm alone in this argument. And then she prattles on about other stuff. I lost interest, like her husband.
I don't like those women.
So
I've lived with a few in a sorority like that.
What her husband has learned to do, he's been trained. He's adopted this key phrase: I want to take a time out on this conversation. Because it signals to her that what she has to say, I guess, is important, and the conversation's not over. We'll pick it back up later when we're both not, behaving like children.
Okay.
What about that?
That's a very level-headed way.
Yeah. Also, another never that comes up a couple of times among these women, the never say during a heated argument, I told you so.
Oh, that's the worst.
Even worse than chill out or calm down?
Oh, I told you so. It's condescending, and it just stings a little. I would never say I told you so, but I told you so.
And then blaming each other, like it's all your fault. You always do this. Talking in absolutes. It's all on you, or you always do this. This is also something women don't seem to like.
Yeah, it's all your fault. I had that for 12 years until somebody apologized to me recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, all right. My ex-husband finally apologized to me.
Really?
Yeah. What year is this?
This is 2018.
So what year did I get you for? Okay, so yeah, it's been about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
10 years, and he did something bad.
Did he say chill out 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah, chill out. And
I told you so.
I told you so, and all that. And he apologized to me. He said, I want you to know that I've been blaming you for the divorce for this whole time, and it was my fault.
Oh.
I'm like, oh,
good.
I didn't need him to tell me that, but
after a decade and a half of poisoning your children against you.
Yeah, exactly. I said, well, that's fine, and I appreciate the apology, but talk to Peyton and Eli about that, because I think they need to know, because they kind of throw that in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mom, if you weren't so demanding, Dad wouldn't have left, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, that's not really what happened, and I've never told them what happened, even though I really want to tell them what happened.
Yeah.
But so he told them finally.
Hmm.
That it wasn't all my fault. Thanks.
If only I would have been there at the time to counsel you two through that rough patch. Now, Amy, I want you to turn to your partner and say, "Hey, in response to what you just said, I would like to invite you to go make love to yourself." So that's a way to advance the conversation, you know.
Yeah.
But room temperature, always room temperature.
Could have used you back then, Dan.
Here's another a little device that a couples consultant named Leslie Doors suggests. Be curious or confused. That's a great way to go if you're in an argument. That's the best way to deal with it. Tell me more about this, or I got lost here. Listening is always a good way to get somebody to chill. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then one more, never. Emily Mendez, who's a mental health writer.
Oh.
Never try to purposely hurt your partner during an argument. Don't call them names, yell at them, or say spiteful things.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Don't throw or break things. Fine. Tony in Downers Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, here's the thing. Even if the argument is resolved, there's two things. One, you could say something to a woman, and she could say, yes, I understand, or we're okay. And somehow, by the time it resonates with her, it's interpreted differently. The other thing is, there's a vault in the back of the mind, and they keep it there. Could be a year, could be a month, could be 5 years. The issue somehow comes back up, somehow out of nowhere, even if it was resolved. So the best thing to do is have an alternative option.
Well, such as leaving?
Are you talking about like one of those Japanese dolls? What do you mean, an alternative option?
Not a blow-up doll. Have a real option.
Oh, you mean have a backup lady?
Oh. Yeah.
Backup ladies, always a good plan.
Wow.
Thanks for the call, Tony. I did not see that on the list of...
A backup babe? No, is that on the list there?
The best way to diffuse an argument with a partner, get a new partner. Yeah. I didn't think of that. Neither did these 17 women who were interviewed for this piece. I don't think...
That escalated quickly.
I don't think they were thinking about the nuclear option.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. If you get the feeling your deposits don't matter to your bank, then maybe you're not with the right bank. At Signature Bank, your deposits matter to us as much as your business loans. Signature provides unmatched banking expertise, custom financial solutions, and the industry's best technology to closely held Chicagoland businesses. Whether your business is looking for a deposit relationship or needs a ready source for financing, Signature Bank is the right bank for you. Call us today to see how Signature Bank can help your business grow and thrive.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that use Balance of Nature as well.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
A lot of responses online and texts.
And we'll take your phone calls too, 312-642-5600.
Kevin Rooney texts, one thing you can say to diffuse an argument. Can you finish your point after you make me a drink? Yeah, sure. Never asked, never, the never do's. 847 never asked, do you think you might be bipolar? The text from another 847, the two best words to say, although maybe better for avoiding an argument, yes, dear. Whenever I argue with anyone, I disrobe to show that I'm not concealing anything. That's Ann B. Davis's bowling ball. This must be difficult arguments at the Ann B. Davis's bowling ball home.
Turnkey IT knows that computer networks and all things IT are the vital heartbeat of any company. However, keeping up with hardware and software to hiring and managing IT staff can really be costly and time-consuming. But there is a different solution. Now your business can have a full-time IT department for only $795 a month. That's what Turnkey IT's all-in small business package is for. You get world-class help desk, on-site support, remote support, monitoring of your network resources, 365 hosting, cloud backup, antivirus, and so much more, plus new hardware every 4 years, where you can hire a reliable and highly capable employee for less than $10K per year. You don't have to do it. You can do it, though, with Turnkey IT. From 1 person to 200 employees, it's easy and affordable with Turnkey IT. You run your business, they'll handle the technical stuff. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
Studies show if you sleep next to someone who snores, you could be losing an hour of sleep every night. I'm Trina Webster, and I don't have that problem anymore.
I'm Dan Webster. We're the founders of Z-Quiet.
We know how snoring can turn your sweet dreams into a nightmare of shoving, poking, and morning frustration.
Not to mention those dreaded trips to the couch in the middle of the night.
Snoring was a real problem for us.
I tried everything, even surgery, but nothing worked.
That's when we developed an amazing solution called Z-Quiet.
Z-Quiet is easy to use and works immediately, so you can sleep comfortably without making a sound. Just pop it in before you sleep and kick snoring out of bed forever.
Millions of people are sleeping better every night thanks to Z-Quiet. So if better sleep is one of your goals, go to getzquiet.com.
Z-Quiet fits both men and women. Try it risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95. Text SLEEP to 246810 or go to getzquiet.com. Text SLEEP to 246810 or go to getzquiet.com.
I love my Catholic school. It's where I learn to make the right choices and lead by example. And I receive a well-rounded education because over 81% of students in our schools participate in at least one extracurricular activity.
You just heard my daughter talk about why she loves her Catholic school. And as a parent, I may not be able to control what is happening in our culture, but I can control how my children are educated. I do that by sending them to a Catholic school where they are formed in the image of Jesus Christ so that they have the moral foundation to make the right choices based on the teachings of the Catholic Church. If you want to provide your child with a moral compass to navigate our culture, consider sending him or her to a Catholic school.
Now you can join me at my school. Participating Catholic schools in the Joliet Diocese, in conjunction with the Catholic Education Foundation, are offering transfer grants grants of $1,500 to elementary school students and $3,000 to high school students who transfer from public, private, charter, or homeschool. Restrictions apply. For more information, go to weteachmore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text from 312, how to diffuse an argument. I just tell my partner, what the hell is wrong with you? That seems to help. Holly and Hudson, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, I wish you'd been around when I was growing up. I was raised by the Bickermans. My parents fought from morning to night. Really? They stomped around, slammed things, closed doors. They got divorced twice. I've been to two of my parents' weddings.
Really? So they got divorced,
remarried each other.
That's one way to diffuse the argument, though, is to get a divorce and then you get remarried. Yeah.
Are they married now?
It seems a little bit laborious.
Happily married, 82 and 84, live in
Wow.
Joplin, Missouri.
Wow.
They gutted it out. And now the thing that's nice, they're too exhausted to fight. They're too old and tired, and they just really enjoy each other.
That's it. You got to punch yourself out, rhetorically speaking. Thanks for the call, Holly. I like the description, too, of a long marriage as gutting it out. That makes it sound real attractive.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat, he's got a new show that airs on Showtime this weekend, and he's duped a number of high-profile people like he did, with Borat. How do people keep falling for the same trick?
Including someone you know. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
73 degrees. We have fair skies right now, but it is an air quality action day in Chicago and in Northwest Indiana. President Trump says NATO allies are agreeing to spend more on defense. He says NATO is actually doing much better today than before he arrived in Brussels, with demands to take the financial burden off the United States.
Reading a lot about Brexit over the last couple of days, and it seems to be turning a little bit differently, where they're getting at least partially involved back with the European Union. I have no message. It's not for me to say.
Those comments came just before the president left Brussels for Britain, as the president will now spend time in meetings with Prime Minister Theresa May, her cabinet ministers, and business leaders. He'll also visit with Queen Elizabeth at Windsor Castle and also visit Scotland ahead of a summit in Finland with Vladimir Putin. 10 volunteer firefighters this morning in North Carolina are charged with arson. Deputies in Robeson County say they arrested the firefighters after a year-and-a-half-long investigation into dozens of intentionally set fires in wooded areas and in abandoned houses. Here in Chicago, a woman is dead after an apartment building caught fire on the south side. The blaze began early this morning in a building in the area of 57th and Throop. The cause of the fire and her death are under investigation. Health officials continue probing 9 cases of Legionnaire's disease that have shown up in McHenry County from June 7th to July 1st. Vice President Mike Pence will be in Chicago tomorrow. The VP making a stop in Rosemont, discussing the president's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 and attending a fundraising event for Representative Peter Roskam. A former University of Illinois tennis player making big news in moving on to the semifinals at Wimbledon. The big upset win yesterday. Kevin Anderson defeating the defending champ and top-seeded Roger Federer in 5 sets, roaring back for the win after Federer was a single point away from victory. Anderson will face American John Isner tomorrow. White Sox blanked the Cardinals 4-0 to split a 2-game series, while the Giants beat the Cubs 5-4. Buster Posey, the game-winning RBI in the 13th inning. The Baby Bulls moving on in the Las Vegas Summer Rookie League playoffs. Wendell Carter Jr., 19, helping the Bulls beat the Mavericks. France and Croatia in the World Cup finale on Sunday after Croatia beat England yesterday 2-1 in the semifinals in Moscow. The news is a service of Aruba Tourism. Be one happy family on one happy island. Vacation in sunny Aruba with accommodations to fit every family size and budget. Hop a daily nonstop flight from O'Hare to One Happy Island and plan your happy escape to Aruba today at Aruba.com. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I am a Trump supporter.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Now, I am a Trump supporter who will freely criticize the president when I think he's done wrong. And done wrong can be sending out a stupid tweet, raising taxes, or supporting amnesty. It can be anything. It's the issues to me. And when President Trump does something that does not advance those issues, I'll call him out on it.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
How's your breath? If you're not using TheraBreath, it might be bad. TheraBreath is guaranteed to give you fresh breath or your money back. Available at your local drugstore. Visit TheraBreath.com for coupons and locations.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens. And they need people who can keep up. With the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
On the streets of Miami, speed is the law. So when a corn dog goes after the wrong girl...
Oh, heartburn!
One man will bring her Tums Ultra Strength.
I'm on my way.
Don't get wrecked by heartburn. Nothing works faster than Tums.
Your mustard's fast, but my Tums are faster.
And with Tums on-the-go rolls, it's never been easier to leave heartburn behind.
You did it.
Yeah. You gonna finish that corn dog?
Tums Ultra Strength, available in a store near you.
Maxon Shooters Supply has been raising the bar for Chicagoland for 60 years, proudly serving the community as Chicago's premier gun shop and indoor shooting range. Maxon offers 20 state-of-the-art indoor lanes and was the first 5-star facility to be named in Illinois, one of only 27 ranges nationwide. Come to Maxon this Saturday to celebrate their 60th anniversary, sponsored by Smith & Wesson. Shoot a variety of Smith & Wesson firearms for only $10 and get a free entry to win a Liberty Tech 24 floor safe or a Smith & Wesson M&P pistol. Range passes are buy one, get one free, and all Smith & Wesson firearms will be on sale. Limited edition 60th anniversary t-shirts will be available, and you can help them raise money for USA Cares to benefit veterans and their families. Maxon Shooter Supplies is at 75 East Bradrock Drive in Des Plaines. More information about the upcoming 60th anniversary event can be found at maxonshooters.com. That's MAXON shooters.com. Don't miss it.
7:35. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim.
Mike, the inbound Eisenhower is heavy. York to St. Charles with a crash on the right shoulder, and 17th to the Burn Circle. An hour and 5 minutes, 390 to downtown, 44 minutes from Mannheim, and outbound an hour and 2 minutes to 390. Eden's 22 minutes, like Cook to the Junction, outbound 25. Kennedy, 43 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 42. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, southbound slow 120 to the Lake Forest Oasis, then 280 to Irving Park Toll. Northbound, a bit slow, Southwest Highway, 83rd Street Toll. And from the Stevenson to 31st, it is jammed. Cermak Toll to Balmoral. Reagan Tollway tight, 53 to 355 in York to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, Dalton to St. Charles, and Army Trail to 290. Traffic Service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drugged driving, their grief is unique. You're not alone. MAD is here to help. Call their 24-hour victim helpline, 877-MAD-HELP. Visit mad.org, MADD.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sunny and warm today. We'll have an air quality action day as well with the unhealthy air and lots of ozone for sensitive groups to deal with. 90 degrees for a high temp. Clear and warm, 72 overnight. 73 right now. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Borat is at it again. The comedic actor Sacha Baron Cohen has a new show on Showtime.
Yeah, it's going to air this Sunday at 9 p.m.
And among the things that he did for this show is the thing that he has done in his previous shows, both as Da Ali G and then as Borat. He spoofed high-profile politicos. You remember Borat? Like, do you remember the Ron Paul scene in the hotel room?
Oh, remind me of that one.
So he's interviewing Ron Paul, and then they take a break, and a light went out, so why don't you just relax in the next room? They're in a hotel room, so they go to the bedroom, and then Sacha Baron Cohen proceeds to essentially disrobe and proposition Ron Paul, who then leaves the room and says, "Okay, I'm done with this. This is crazy. I'm over." He interviewed Alan Keyes.
Oh, I remember that. He interviewed Barney Frank, and while he offered him a cookie, and while Barney Frank was eating the cookie, he said, "Well, we make those cookies with my mother's breast milk."
Yeah,
and then he's
right.
I just remember that.
Yeah, so there's that, and
then there's been controversy. I remember he was hitchhiking, and he got in a van with a bunch of kids from South Carolina, University of South Carolina.
Yeah,
and then one of those kids sued him because he made him look bad, and
so
they thought they were being nice to a foreigner.
What normally happens though is you get release assigned, so you can be duped, but if you don't sign a release, then you have recourse. If you sign a release, then you don't. Sarah Palin apparently was duped and did sign a release and then went public with it. She suggested that Sacha Baron Cohen essentially dressed up as a wounded veteran.
Yeah, he was in a wheelchair.
And began interviewing her about military-related issues.
Well,
in that character.
She's come forward, and she had a Facebook post yesterday afternoon because for the interview, my daughter and I were asked to travel across the country where Cohen, I presumed, was heavily disguised himself as a disabled U.S. veteran, fake wheelchair and all, out of respect for what I was led to believe would be a thoughtful discussion with someone who served in uniform. I sat through this long interview full of Hollywoodisms, disrespect, and sarcasm, but finally had enough and literally physically removed my mic and walked out, much to Cohen's chagrin. The disrespect of our U.S. military and middle-class Americans via Cohen's foreign commentaries under the guise of interview questions was perverse. He mocked those who I thought who have fought and served for our country. Honestly, that's and how she felt. And she said it was truly sick. And then to put, salt in their wound, one of Cohen's people had taken them to the airport so they could fly back to Alaska, purposely drove to the wrong airport. So then they missed their flights to Alaska that evening.
Yeah.
So she's come out before this saying, I want you to see the whole tape where I actually was so sick of being berated like this that I got up, took my mic off, and left. But she doesn't think he'll put that in the show.
Oh, I'm sure he will. They aired before people storming out of the room like Ron Paul did in Borat.
How did Ron Paul get duped into that? I mean,
so this is accomplishing exactly what Sacha Baron Cohen wants it to, which is to give great press and profile in advance of the airing of his show because of these high-profile politicos. Dick Cheney is in the trailer as well. He's profiled in the trailer signing a water bottle.
Yeah.
Or a water jug, right?
Right, because of waterboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that.
And also turns out
someone we know.
This from Entertainment Weekly, Joe Walsh.
Our Joe Walsh.
Yeah, show on this station says that Sacha Baron Cohen duped him too. And he calls for a boycott of Showtime and Borat's new show.
I'm not boycotting Showtime.
He's a comedian. He can be funny, but mocking a disabled veteran to spoof Sarah Palin is a serious matter. He goes on to tell, to describe what he encountered. We started talking pro-Israel stuff, Israeli defense, and then out of left field, the interviewer starts talking about how children should defend themselves against terrorist attacks. I understand Israel handles security very differently than how America handles security. Interviewed showed several articles involving children stopping terrorists, stuff like that. They had me read off a teleprompter. I stopped and questioned their direction. And just like that, producers rushed me out of the studio as an apparent fight broke out. Strangest interview of my life. Don't think they spoofed me very much. Well,
Wait, a fight broke out?
I'm just reading what he posted. So what about that? You're going to boycott Sacha Baron Cohen show. You're going to boycott Showtime. You have sympathy for politicos who get spoofed by a comedic actor like a Borat. 312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, Turnkey.pro text line.
I just want to know if they paid people for this interview. Did former Vice President Dick Cheney? That's just weird that a man of his intelligence level and the people that he should be having around him to protect him let him sit down for that interview.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you met Dick Cheney? He's a scary dude, which is good. I wanted to, you need.
I think he's a scary dude.
When I met him, I was, he commands a level of respect, and he's earned it, and he deserves it. That's why I'm so surprised he sat down. And Sarah Palin, you think that they would know better too? And did they pay for their own flights to go from Anchorage to D.C. to do these interviews?
Dressing up, Walsh said, dressing up as a wounded veteran is absolutely stolen valor. His tactics are disgusting.
Is it stolen valor?
No.
But you're passing yourself off as a wounded veteran.
Not for purposes of personal enrichment or aggrandizement.
But it's a show. I mean, he's making money off of the show, selling himself, passing himself off as a disabled veteran. Should Sacha Baron Cohen be arrested? 312-642-5600.
Do you think in the show that people are going to understand him to be a veteran or understand him to be spoofing politicians like he did in Borat? Which do you think? The high
branch of service he alleged to belong to.
I got to tell you, the high dudgeon from people who were hornswoggled like Palin and Walsh is not particularly compelling to me. It's just not particularly compelling. You got spoofed. You signed a release you shouldn't have signed. You didn't vet somebody that you should have properly vetted. Probably so solicitous of being interviewed you were. So is that particularly, am I real concerned about that? No, I'm not. Nick in Barrington, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Sacha Cohen is no different than a terrorist. He goes after soft targets. He knows he's not going to be confronted by people where he pulls these nasty stunts. You could see it in basically from his first movie, Borat, where he goes after people that are generally nice people, essentially flyover country, if you will. And it's a shame that he's allowed to get away with it. Hopefully one day he'll be confronted by someone that will maybe kick his butt, frankly, for pulling the stunts that he does.
Yeah, okay, well, it's fine. You cannot like it. Thanks for the call. He's not a terrorist. That's absurd. No different than a terrorist? That's an absurd statement. That's ridiculous. You cannot just like...
He's a comedian. He thinks he's a comedian.
When Jay Leno did jaywalking, and then he would interview idiots on the street who didn't know how many branches of government that we have. Is Jay Leno a terrorist, too? I mean, I understand what you're saying about preying on people, and then also, in this case, but much like these produced segments for late-night TV shows, casting people in the worst possible light. But that's not terrorism. It may be lowbrow humor, but then don't go on camera. Have a spidey sense that tingles. Sean in Elmwood Park.
If he was doing this to Daly down at the Stray Dog in Michigan, hanging off a bar stool with vomit on his shirt, we'd be loving it.
Yeah.
It's that we don't like who he targeted. Because here's the real issue, and I have zero sympathy for the people who are so-called targeted, because what they want to do is just promote themselves. They want to sell their virtue. They want to sell their expertise. That's what they're doing. And here's a little lesson. Be suspicious of everybody. I love, I have a little cigar business, Prof, that where you rarely pay your tab.
That's
and
right.
In that cigar business, I get a lot of hucksters. These morphidites come in with their pad, and they're selling energy. I love it when they come in, because I like to watch him run out of there like your dog does with his tail between his legs. I enjoy when people try to get one over on me. I welcome it. Be suspicious. We hear a name and we think, oh, it's going to be great. They're going to be wonderful. What this guy exposes is that these politicians are morons. They know nothing, and they're easily duped. And what do you think we're going to do? We give them our checkbook. Go ahead, now write the checks for the people. Ridiculous.
Thanks, Sean.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Coming up, Zsa Zsa is dead. But first, here's your forecast. We have sunshine right now, and it's going to be a hot and humid day, so check on your elderly friends, your neighbors, and make sure they're okay. Dan, I'll be calling you later today to make sure you don't need to be transported to a cooling center. A high of 90 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 72. And for Friday, hot and humid, some clouds, some sun, a high of 93 degrees. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Jim Telemonte, I won't be calling you because I'm sure you're young and spry and you're fine.
I'm acting that way. Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Morning, Dan. The Eisenhower inbound still really heavy from York to St. Charles with a crash on the right shoulder. At one point, it was blocking all the lanes. And then it's stop and go from 25th into downtown. It's an hour and 2 minutes from 390 to the Loop, 40 minutes from Manheim, and outbound an hour and 2 minutes up to 390. Edens is 22 minutes Lake Cook Junction, outbound 27. Kennedy, 43 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th at the Loop. I-57 is jammed outbound, 167th, 183rd where there's a crash. Tri-State southbound, it is heavy. First from around 120, Lake Forest Oasis. Then Dempster to the Irving Park toll, northbound 95th to 31st. Again, from the Cermak toll to Balmoral. The other tollways are heavy too. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
My story includes multiple physical and emotional affairs.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, pornography.
My wife found out that I had betrayed her. She insisted that I would go to the everyman's battle. I had some idea, perhaps, of what to expect, but I had no idea that it would have the impact on me that it did. There's just something about the way that you meet in a large group and then the smaller breakout groups. And the sharing is just something that I've never experienced before.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or log on to newlife.com.
This is the first time in my life that I ever felt comfortable in sharing the real me with other men. In my mind, it is one of the most critical things that a guy can do in his recovery.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The rapid evolution of technology and industrial robotic automation systems offers a multitude of solutions that give manufacturers a competitive advantage. From ergonomics, quality control, and the need to meet increased production goals while improving the lives of everybody on the factory floor, industrial robotic automation can mean increased profitability and higher quality jobs. Matrix Industrial Automation has built a reputation as an industry leader in developing, building, and installing a wide range of turnkey robotic automation systems. Manufacturers big and small, local and worldwide, depend on Matrix to deliver the most optimal and robust industrial automation systems with improved ROI in mind. Nearly 2 decades of experience and hundreds of installed systems is why Matrix Industrial Automation, headquartered in Bartlett, Illinois, are the industrial automation experts. For information or to schedule a free automation consultation, visit matrixindustrialautomation.com or call 847-841-8260. That's matrixindustrialautomation.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that not only recommend it, but use Balance of Nature as well.
In my practice, I was getting to the point where I couldn't have the strength to see that many patients anymore. I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. It really affected my breathing and the strength that I had. And I was introduced to the fruits and veggies. Just slowly, my strength started to come back. And it was because of the good nutrition. I can't say enough good for Balance of Nature and what it's done for me. I recommend it to everybody.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Even though the 4th of July is behind us, every July is our Independence Month. Become a patriot. Declare your independence from big mobile companies. Break free from big mobile's hidden fees, the line charges, the complicated pricing. Start celebrating simplicity with Patriot Mobile, where the pricing is simple and straightforward. Patriot Mobile also covers your switching and installment fees as a contract credit, up to $1,500 per account when you join. And from each Patriot's bill comes a contribution to the vital donations of conservative organizations that fight for freedom every day. What a great month to remember that. This month, enjoy a new Motorola E4 or an E4 Plus smartphone for only $4 a month. Save over 40% on this terrific water-resistant phone, perfect for summer, and help bring about conservative change. Independence has never sounded so liberating. Don't wait. Offer only available while supplies last. Make the switch today by calling 1-800-A-PATRIOT or by visiting www.patriotmobile.com/you. That's patriotmobile.com/you. Be a patriot. Switch. Make conservative change happen every time you use your cell phone. Patriot Mobile, your new cellular resource for patriotism.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy are talking about that new Sacha Baron Cohen show that airs on Showtime this weekend, where he has spoofed Sarah Palin and duped Sarah Palin.
Dick Cheney,
apparently, per the trailer for the show.
Oh, yeah.
And
him sitting down in a wingtip chair.
What?
Yeah, he was sitting in a
wing back.
A wing. Well, you wing back, but we call it wingtip chair. But oh boy,
a wingtip chair.
Don't you have one in your house?
I have wingtip shoes. I have wing back chairs.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
just saying.
My great grandma told me it was something different. Thanks, Nana.
Liar. That's what she is.
Hey, she's a wet nurse. Leave her alone.
And
hey.
oh, really?
Well, among other things, ghostwriter. She survived. She was a survivalist and a Kappa Kappa Gamma house mom at Denison.
That's very impressive. Denison's a good school. Or used to be.
It's
not too
still
many
a
good
good
schools
school.
left.
No, that hasn't made the list yet. Denison has not done anything wrong. Their students have not rebelled against the establishment yet.
Yeah, I don't think
No,
I
they
can't
haven't.
remember
It's
a
not
story
on my
from
list.
Denison. They've done a
No.
good job of keeping it all very
Keep it
quiet.
real,
Yeah, in honor of your Nana. And also Joe Walsh calling for a boycott of the show because he was also duped. Robert in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, kids. How about fair and balanced? Let's do Bill Clinton and have him walk in a room with an 18-year-old, legal age, have her undressed. I guarantee that's going to turn into an X-rated movie.
That nobody wants to see. Yes, thanks for the call, Robert.
He's too
Appreciate
busy
it.
sitting in first class on a commercial flight somewhere.
That's
What airline
true.
was that, by the way?
Delta, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With respect to, kind of what about the left, we should do this to okay, we should. So this is the conversation we have with Andrew Clavin from Pajamas Me, the Hollywood screenwriter, all the time. Yeah, right. We complain because the left has Borat to target conservative politicians, to make arses out of some conservative politicians, as he continues to do. I don't know why people don't catch on. Colbert did the same thing on his show on Comedy Central for a time, although he was more across the board. Remember his Get to Know a Congressman?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Then the series, and I don't know why people sat down for these interviews because they always came off looking like idiots. Of course, that was the whole point of the interviewer, was to accomplish that. But the complaining about what the left does in media, I just am not particularly persuaded by, because as Clavin says, it's been a failure of conservatives to not build infrastructure. A failure of conservatives to not build infrastructure. We have talented writers and people that are funny and people that with money that can produce films and TV shows and the like. And you see some of that, of course. There's some very good movies in sort of the Christian space that have been produced, particularly in the last few years. Mel Gibson's wildly successful movie about the crucifixion as well. But we haven't built the infrastructure. Now compare that to the Federalist Society. Compare that to what the Federalist Society has done in 35 short years in terms of putting together programming that attracted law students, that engaged them in debate. These are law students that went on to write on their law reviews or edit their law reviews, to be successful in private practice, to be successful in politics, to be successful on the bench. And you built a cadre of professional individuals who excel in the legal arena. And that produces a Gorsuch and a Kavanaugh and so many others that were qualified, if not spectacular potential jurists and existing jurists, but potential high court, Supreme Court justices on that list that Trump has been selecting from. Building infrastructure, not getting caught up in personality. That's how you build a successful organization anywhere. It's the reason the Illinois Republican Party is the worst Republican Party organization at the state level in the country. Because it's just a kind of fleeting personalities. There's no infrastructure build. It's the reason why we don't have as much bandwidth in entertainment and culture as we could have, because we haven't invested the time, money, and energy to build infrastructure that extends beyond any individual personality. That's what the Federalist Society did. That should be the model, and it should be a model that we bring to the world of entertainment as well.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the one, the only.
Trump delivers a dog's breakfast to Angela Merkel while John Kelly looks for some scrambled eggs and bacon.
Judd Babin will be here at 8:08. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A Forest Preserve police officer resigns under fire. Periods of sun and warm today in your forecast. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
President Trump just landed in England. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. It's his first time there as president, landing just a few minutes ago after leaving the NATO summit in Belgium.
The United States commitment to NATO is very strong, remains very strong.
He seems a lot happier now than he was just a few hours ago. Fox's Simon Owen is live in Belgium.
Chris, having berated NATO allies at a summit here for not spending enough on defense, President Trump claiming victory.
They have substantially upped their commitment, and now we're very happy and have a very, very powerful, very, very strong NATO, much stronger than it was 2 days ago.
And he reaffirmed U.S. commitment to the alliance, saying, "I believe in NATO." But his claim that countries are upping their commitments is coming in for scrutiny here. The French president saying member states merely reaffirmed spending pledges they made 4 years ago. Chris?
Simon Owen in Brussels, Belgium. Thanks. An FBI agent who sent insulting text messages about the president before his election testifies on Capitol Hill. That hearing starts in about an hour.
Watch for Republicans on the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees to grill Peter Strzok about his involvement in the Russia probe and about a series of anti-Trump text messages he exchanged with his former colleague and lover, Lisa Page. Page was supposed to go behind closed doors with the committees yesterday, but her lawyer said she would not be there because the FBI had not given them the documents she needed to prepare. Democrats say the probe into Strzok and Page is an attempt to discredit the Justice Department and special counsel Robert Mueller. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Stormy Daniels is out on bail in Columbus, Ohio, arrested on a state law against patrons touching strippers during their performances. She's suing President Trump, and her lawyer says the arrest was a politically motivated setup. Cheers in Croatia, tears in England as Croatia wins 2-1 at the World Cup to advance to Sunday's final against France. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Fair skies, 74 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It is an air quality alert day in Chicagoland and northwest Indiana. The National Weather Service says it's been declared for the entire day for Cook, McHenry, Lake, Kane, DuPage, Kendall, and Will counties, along with northwest Indiana. An 11-year-old boy remains in stable condition this morning after his foot was run over by a train on Chicago's south side. Police say the incident happened yesterday when the child was trying to retrieve a football from the train tracks near 89th and Delphin. No one is in custody after two were shot earlier this month. While leaving a party at an Airbnb rental home in Chicago's Logan Square neighborhood, this neighbor described what happened just before the shooting began.
I woke up when the real gun battle broke out right here in front of the house, which for about a minute and a half sounded like an absolute war.
Airbnb has removed the home host and guest from the platform as they investigate the incident. Cook County Forest Preserve police officer is stepping down after facing mounting criticism for his lack of response to a woman being harassed for wearing a Puerto Rico T-shirt. Officer Patrick O'Connor resigned last night following calls for his firing over the encounter last month at the Caldwell Woods Forest Preserve. Chicago sports, Carlos Rodon cruised into the eighth inning. White Sox blanked the Cardinals 4-0 to split that two-game set. Giants beat the Cubs in 13, 5-4. France and Croatia in the World Cup final on Sunday. Croatia defeating England yesterday 2-1 in a Moscow semifinal. 8:03, it's time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network. Here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Delta Airlines is reporting a better-than-expected spring quarter. It's also raising its quarterly dividend. Though fuel prices are higher, Delta says it has seen early success in addressing those higher prices. JetBlue and budget European airline Norwegian are both also reporting increased business this spring. Merger news, Arizona-based mining company Freeport-McMoRan is buying the copper mine business from Rio Tinto. It's paying $3.5 billion. Twitter says most users will only lose 4 or fewer followers now that it has removed accounts that were flagged for suspicious activity, though popular Twitter feeds, including those from celebrities, will lose more. The Dow was down 219 on Wednesday. NASDAQ dropped 42. The S&P lost 19. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It's 8:04. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder explains how important another Supreme Court pick from Trump is.
Justice Kennedy is retiring now so that Donald Trump has enough time, while the Republicans are still in the majority, to confirm somebody equally, if not more conservative, if and when Ruth Bader Ginsburg retires during the president's term. That could dramatically shift the court. Right now, they are doing a prayer vigil over Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event. And now, while selection is best, it's the best time to buy. With amazing offers across a full lineup of Ford vehicles, now is the time to make summer go right with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Stop by a local Ford store or shop online at buyfordnow.com, because there is no better time than right now to get behind the wheel of a new Ford during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 72 months plus $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash on a great lineup of Ford SUVs. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 72 months at $1,389 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Not available on Expedition. For all offers, take new retail delivery from authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
It is 8:06, and that means a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. 53 is a little heavier than usual this morning southbound with delays Rand to Kirchhoff, and it's tight from Biesterfield to 390. Northbound, just a brief tap of the brakes, Algonquin to Kirchhoff. Veterans Memorial has southbound delays Armory Trail to Roosevelt. Northbound, 75th to St. Charles, and from the Army Trail toll to 290. Tri-State has major delays. Northbound 95th to 31st, and from the Cermak toll to Balmoral, southbound 120 to the Lake Forest Oasis, and Dempster to the Irving Park toll. Eden's 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 27. Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, an hour and 2 minutes, 390 to the Circle. 40 minutes from Manheim. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic service of Aruba Tourism. Imagine if your daily commute was from your beach chair right to the crystal blue Caribbean Sea. It's time for an escape to sunny Aruba. Hop a daily nonstop flight from O'Hare to One Happy Island. Plan your Aruba vacation today at Aruba.com.
traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, clouds and sun, high 90. Mainly clear night, low 72. Clouds and sun tomorrow. More humid, high 94. Partly cloudy and humid at night, low 74. A shower or a thunderstorm around Saturday, high 90. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
73 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Trump just arriving in Britain after lighting up Angela Merkel and some of our NATO allies yesterday in Brussels. By the way, please do, Amy, keep us updated on Stormy Daniels' situation when she is released from prison.
I will let you know. Charged with a misdemeanor.
Yeah,
yes.
Very concerned about that. National
Her
security
mugshot's
issue as
out,
well.
by the way.
Yeah, no, it's lovely.
It is lovely.
Very
it's
tasteful.
One of the best mugshots.
Kudos to the police
The
department in whatever community she was in Ohio. It's
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, great photography. Well, sure, they've got a lot of experience doing mugshots for Ohio State football players.
Right, and all the athletes.
Yeah, right. So Trump, among other things, went off at breakfast while General Kelly was looking for an omelet about Germany and this pipeline deal with the Russians.
When Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries. And then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas.
And Senator Chuck Grassley, part of a Senate that sort of rebuked Trump's trade policy with a resolution yesterday, he generally liked what Trump said, if not necessarily how he said it in Brussels.
This president's following through with something that he said during the campaign, something he said last year at the same meeting, and so I think now that it ought to be sinking in that he means business, and it's also sinking in from the fact that at least every country to a lesser and thank God a few countries to a greater degree are increasing their spending on NATO. But I think the most important thing that he brings up, if NATO is to protect from Russia's advancement westward, then quite frankly, why are you helping the economy and helping Putin by buying natural gas from him? Yes. I think that's a stronger point.
I think that is a strong point. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Jed Babin, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. Jed, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
Good morning. We'll keep you updated. We may have to break in if Stormy Daniels is released from prison.
I know. That's much more important than anything going on in national security.
That is correct. So what about Trump making the pipeline deal between the Germans and the Russians a real sticking point yesterday?
Well, he's right. The Russians send about 20% of Germany's gas via one pipeline called Nord Stream 1. They're about to double that with a second pipeline called Nord Stream 2. And the Germans are sending a lot of money to Russia for that, and they're becoming dependent on Russia for their gas.
Yeah, but why is that our business?
Well, it's our business because Russia, as the president said, we're trying to protect NATO from Russia, and our so-called NATO allies are filling Russia's coffers and buying natural gas from them. They're also, by the way, running a huge trade deficit with Iran. The Germans run a multi-billion euro trade deficit with Iran. Lord only knows what they're importing from there, but it's it's almost assuredly oil. So you have the biggest enemies that we have, not including China, being supported substantially by Germany, for one, and several other NATO countries. It's just the wrong thing for them to be doing. And all of this talk by Senator Grassley that the NATO countries are increasing their defense spending, hogwash. It ain't happening. It's not going to happen for at least 6 or 7 years, and I bet it won't even happen then.
Yeah, and so then you layer on the fact that we're subsidizing their, supposed contributions to the common defense. By the way, a common defense that Germany really isn't prepared to contribute much to. David French had a good piece on this too. We're not talking when Trump insinuates that Germany is too weak to participate in NATO's common defense, the German military. He's not talking about returning Germany to World War II military levels, but he is talking about things like, and French points this out in his piece in National Review, Germany's Tornado fighters jets not able to participate in NATO missions due to technological deficiencies and just the capacity Germany has, in addition to its complicity with the Russians on that energy deal.
Well, French ignores the principal problem. The German army is unionized, for heaven's sake.
Okay.
They had to pull out of a NATO exercise last year because their troops exceeded their allowed overtime hours. I mean, you just can't do this. You can't have a serious military at all if you're going to be pulling out because their overtime has been exceeded. I mean, come on, guys. This is not even realistic. So, yeah, okay, the German planes can't. Look, the German army couldn't put down a decent-sized riot in L.A. at this point.
Well, right, but
and you know,
but
I'm not in favor of rearming Germany, but that's above my pay grade. That was decided by Harry Truman and Winston Churchill right after World War II because the Soviet Union was the big threat. Well, you know, Russia is still a big threat, and Germany needs to pick up its end of the stick.
There you go.
One of the reasons by President Trump scolded other NATO members is to have them pay up. He's sick of paying the bill. And there was movement made because now our NATO allies are going to be increasing their defense spending. Do they need to even up it more?
Well, I mean, Amy, I don't think they're going to increase their defense spending. They keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, but they don't do it. Germany was saying, oh, well, we're going to increase our defense spending significantly this year. Well, they didn't. And the French are saying, well, we're not going up to 4% this year. We're going to smoke instead. We're going to enjoy our gala.
It's a great French accent.
Just isn't. Well, I can mock the French better than anybody. Hey, I'm the first guy to ever say when we were going to war in Iraq, going to war without France is like going deer hunting without an accordion. You just leave a lot of noisy, useless baggage behind. That was me. You can look it up.
That's a good line. I like that.
No, thank you. At the risk of being serious, you know, the French and the Germans, the Spanish, the Italians, I mean, all of these countries that we're supposed to be protecting, they're not helping us. One of the ideas of NATO was that we would provide a core defense posture, a presence in Europe around which they would form their own strong militaries. They haven't done it for 60 years. So what are we supposed to do? We can't get them to pay us to defend them. You know, they won't do that. I mean, they're sovereign nations and, you know, they're responsible for their own defense, but they're not going to do it themselves either. So we have to put a lot of pressure on them. Trump is doing the right thing. I don't know if he's doing it the right way, but, you know, that's Trump.
Yeah, and I mean, the polite way hasn't seemed to work, as you pointed out, so maybe a little bit more aggressive shaming, even as John Kelly is upset about the role selection at breakfast, is the way to go. The question is, though, is should he just keep sort of rhetorically beating them up on this, or should the U.S. consider pulling out of NATO?
Well, I think pulling out of NATO would be a terrible idea. I don't think the president wants to do that. He said this morning he wasn't going to do that, although he could. Frankly, he can't. NATO is a treaty. It was ratified by the Senate, and the president can't pull out of NATO just by himself. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is we have to get them, you know, by continued diplomatic pressure, by presidential rhetoric. We have to keep pounding on those guys to say, you guys are not holding your end of the deal up, and you've got to do it better. So we'll see what happens. I frankly am not at all optimistic about it because I just don't think they're going to do it.
What do you hope? President Trump landing this morning in London, is going to be meeting tomorrow with Queen Elizabeth. And then he's off.
That's an important meeting.
That's going to be.
Yeah.
Then he's off to Russia. What do you think he hopes to accomplish with Putin?
Well, I don't know. He is certainly not agreeing, as he said this morning, to Russia's possession of Crimea. I think he wants to talk about Syria and having Iran withdraw from Syria, which frankly isn't going to happen. But I don't know what he's planning on beyond that. It's very troubling to me that the president has not taken a stronger stand against Putin and Russia, not only with respect to the business of the interference in the 2016 election, but all of the other things that Russia is doing. And Russia is highly active, trying to destabilize pretty much anywhere in the world that they can reach. And, they need to be brought back to reality a little bit. And I don't think the president's going to even try.
Well, so you're looking for a Reagan moment from Trump with respect to Putin. It's just this whole pipeline deal with Germany and Russia reminds of the 1982, exploding the pipeline that Maggie Thatcher wanted from Russia to Eastern Europe, to Western Europe, that President Reagan was opposed to because he wanted to punish the Soviet Union for their oppressive tactics in Poland. So does Trump need something like that?
He won't get it. I don't think he'll even try for it because, frankly, he's not Reagan. Trump's a pretty good president, but he does not have the vision and certainly does not have the ideology to propel him to do anything like that. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, were he to challenge the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, I think it would simply fail. I don't think there's any way he can stop it. So I think at this point, to look for anything in Helsinki a lot better than we've seen before is unrealistic.
All right. Hopefully he takes at least a little bit tougher tack with Putin than Megyn Kelly did. That's my threshold. Clear.
No, I think you're right. And he needs to take a very tough approach to Putin. One of the continuing mysteries of his presidency is why he has not taken a stronger stand, called Putin out personally, talked about the fact that they through aggression, they took over the Crimea. They're still at war in Ukraine.
Right.
And, they really should not be doing what they're doing. Again, they're destabilizing everything they can.
But President Obama, allowed Russians to annex Crimea. He didn't do anything.
I think that's on him. That's on Obama. But I don't think that Trump needs to make it easy for them by doing anything else. I think he's doing the right thing. We've been sending arms to Ukraine. I think we do need to do a lot more of that. And I think he needs to take the opportunity to criticize what Putin is doing in Syria, in Ukraine, and a lot of other areas at this summit meeting. He needs to be tough with Putin, and so far he's not been.
What did you take from Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin upon his return from a trip to Russia, talking about the need to focus on more targeted sanctions against oligarchs in the Putin inner circle as the best way to put pressure on the regime?
Well, it's one way to put pressure on the regime. It's a small way to put pressure on the regime. I like Ron Johnson, but, anytime something comes out of the House or the Senate, any mouth over there, I kind of sit back and yawn. So the fact of the matter is he is not deciding things, and I think the president needs to be much more critical of Russia and its movements around the world, and I think that's the way we can get back to some sort of better policy towards Russia, because frankly, right now, I don't think we have one. There's a lot of places in this world that are hotting up that we do not have a policy to redress.
He is Judd Babin, former United States Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, now a contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. Judd, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844. Hillsdale College forges character and elevates civic discourse both on campus and nationwide. To find out how you can take their free online courses or receive a complimentary subscription to Imprimis, a monthly speech digest, visit hillsdalefreedom.com. That's hillsdalefreedom.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When the Senate was debating cutting taxes, Senator Joe Donnelly told us this.
If they bring a good tax bill before me that helps middle-class families, count me in every time.
But how did Senator Donnelly actually vote? Listen to President Trump.
Joe Donnelly voted no on tax cuts.
The Trump tax cuts are working for Indiana. Middle-class families will receive a tax cut of more than $2,000. Thanks to tax cuts, Hoosier businesses are hiring, raising wages, and paying employee bonuses. But Senator Donnelly voted no. It's time for Joe Donnelly to change course on tax cuts. Call Senator Joe Donnelly, 202-224-4814. Tell him the Trump tax cuts are working and to vote yes on S2687 to make our tax reforms permanent. Paid for by One Nation. www.onenationamerica.org.
Seems like summer just got started, but it's not too soon to start thinking about the fall, at least when it comes to your child's education. Registration for fall enrollment for grades 7 through 12 is happening now at St. John's Northwestern Military Academy, providing young men and now women with an outstanding education and preparation for life. Since 1884, St. John's Northwestern Military Academy in the beautiful Lake County region of southeast Wisconsin has been developing the minds and shaping the character of young men from around the country and around the world, many of whom have gone on to achieve great success. And now, that same opportunity is available for young women. They prepare cadets for success in life by instilling a solid work ethic, an understanding of the value of integrity and teamwork, and the ability to think critically, communicate well, and function in a diverse and ever-changing world. To learn more about fall enrollment or to schedule a visit, call 1-800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET, or visit their website, sjnma.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that not only recommend it, but use Balance of Nature as well.
I look at Balance of Nature and I look what it's doing for me as I've started taking it, and for the patients that I have that are taking it, it's been phenomenal watching the changes that have happened and how much healthier and how much more energy that they have. I haven't heard any negative feedback from any of my patients who have been taking the product. The thing that amazes me with it is that it's so simple.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Your local 1-hour heating and air conditioning knows how miserable it feels when your AC goes out. You want it fixed fast, fixed right, and get a fast quote. Unlike some companies, we don't give you a quote until we actually see what the problem is. Then we'll give you our straightforward price and always stand by our work. Right now, get savings on any AC repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
I like you.
I like you, my dear.
America is falling in love with Mr. Rogers again. Entertainment Weekly raves. It's the movie we need right now.
Fred's theology was love your neighbor and love yourself. It was a communication right into their hearts.
Mr. Rogers' faith has inspired us all.
Thank you for whatever you do to bring joy and faith to our world today.
Please? Won't You Be My Neighbor? Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Now in theaters everywhere.
AM 560. The Answer.
Just when you can't think it could get anywhere, anyhow, any way worse. Did you see what George Lopez did? He was on the, the Hollywood Walk of Fame or whatever you call that thing. and decided to relieve himself in front of TMZ photographers.
Well. It's vivid. It's like I'm there.
No, it is.
It's great audio. So
it's Hollywood's Walk of Fame, and he simulated a golden shower treatment on Donald Trump's star.
Using a water bottle.
But he made it look
Sort
like
of
he was,
an important point.
doing. Well, no, he made it look like he was doing it. It's wildly inappropriate. But that's all right. Keep doing it.
Yawn.
Well, the only reason why we're doing this is because it's golden showers, and it's Dave Chappelle and R. Kelly.
Set your body is a porta potty, and my pee got kicked like a nurse karate. I want pee on you, drip, 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 pee on you.
It's interesting. It's a good juxtaposition because Dave Chappelle is funny.
Yeah.
And that's, thoughtful. I mean, you could say it's lowbrow, but it's pretty clever parody. The remarkable thing about Hollywood is how untalented these people without writers scripting their every utterance or action are. It's so unfunny. I mean, this is news, like simulating a water bottle like you're urinating on Trump's star. This is like an A-list comedian. That's the best you got, George?
Mm-hmm.
Sad.
Pretty bad.
Pathetic.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Did the Dems have anything on Brett Kavanaugh other than his love of the Washington Nationals? We'll talk to Philip Klein of Washington Examiner at 8:38.
And later, how a cow was executed. Dan will explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Fair skies and 74 degrees at 8:29 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The future of the remains of U.S. war dead in North Korea up in the air this morning after North Korean officials failed to show up to a meeting to discuss that matter. Military officials were waiting in the DMZ between the two Koreas for today's planned meeting, but their North Korean counterparts didn't show. President Trump heads to Britain later today. He'll begin a 2-day working visit there, arriving amid a fair amount of political turmoil over Brexit. The president was asked about that issue during a press conference today.
Reading a lot about Brexit over the last couple of days, and it seems to be turning a little bit differently, where they're getting at least partially involved back with the European Union. I have no message. It's not for me to say.
While in the UK, the president will spend time in meetings with Prime Minister Theresa May, her cabinet ministers, and business leaders. He'll also visit with the Queen. The Navy will honor Senator John McCain by adding his name to a destroyer named for his father and grandfather. The Navy notified the Arizona Republican yesterday that the USS John S. McCain now honors him, along with his father and grandfather, who were Navy admirals. Elon Musk says he'll pay for the water contamination fixes for some homes in Flint, Michigan. The tech billionaire, who owns Tesla and SpaceX, said he would pay to fix the water in any home in Flint that has lead contamination above FDA-approved levels. A woman is dead after an apartment building caught fire on Chicago's South Side. Police tell us the blaze began early this morning in a building near 57th and Throop. A Cook County Forest Preserve police officer is stepping down after facing mounting criticism for his lack of response to a woman being harassed wearing a Puerto Rico shirt. Officer Patrick Connor resigned last night. Vice President Mike Pence will be in Chicago tomorrow. The VP stopping in Rosemont to discuss the president's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 and to backstop a fundraiser for U.S. Representative Peter Roskam. A woman whose son was one of 4 killed at a Waffle House in Tennessee has filed a $100 million wrongful death lawsuit against the suspect and his father. Defendants Travis Reinking and his Peoria area father, Jeffrey. According to the suit, it was Jeffrey Reinking's decision to turn over guns to his son in spite of the instructions from law enforcement that the suit says make him responsible for his son's actions. Travis Reinking faces 4 homicide charges. White Sox blanked the Cardinals 4-0 for a split of that 2-game set. Giants beat the Cubs 5-4 in 13. There are 2 Cubs officialing in the home run derby, but Javi Baez and Kyle Schwarber face some stiff competition in that derby in the first round in upcoming days. The news service of Unbound.org. Right now, there's a girl in India with dreams bigger than her village, an elder in Guatemala who dreams of a life of greater dignity and less loneliness. You can help change the future of one person in a single moment. Begin that change at Unbound.org. 8:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees a win for the Republicans in November if we take some advice.
With this new era of confrontation that seems justified by a lot of people on the left. Here's what I'm concerned about. I'll be very blunt. I don't want us to be like them. As long as we're not like them, we're going to beat them where it counts, and that's on November 6th.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
Looking for a fun summer vacation idea? Charlottesville in Albemarle County, Virginia is a short and easy trip with daily nonstop flights on 2 airlines from O'Hare. Tour the homes of former Presidents Jefferson, Monroe, and Madison. Sip wine at one of the area's 30-plus wineries. Take a hike in Shenandoah National Park. Dine al fresco at one of the many farm-to-table restaurants. Or stroll down one of the longest pedestrian malls in the country. Plan your trip today at visitcharlottesville.org.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. You're welcome, America. And that's not a statement a resident of Illinois gets to make very often with sincerity. But the nation owes a debt of gratitude to 2 Illinoisans who advance the cause of liberty for millions more Americans through their courage to dissent. Pam Harris and Mark Janis are their names. Pam is the mother of a young man with developmental disabilities who resisted SEIU's attempt to force parents of children with disabilities into its union, literally pitting parents against their children. Pam took her case all the way to the Supreme Court, which ruled in her favor in 2014. That set the table for Mark Janis, a child support specialist for the state of Illinois who challenged his forced membership in and financing of AFSCME. Mark took his case all the way to the Supreme Court, which ruled in his favor in June. Without Harris, there would have been no Janis. Without Janis, public sector workers in 22 states would still be second-class citizens with respect to their First Amendment rights. Courage begets courage. As I know them both, I can tell you what they would say about the history they've made. Don't worry about remembering our names. Focus instead on emulating our example.
When you're looking for a caring dentist and an experienced dental staff who'll treat you like family, then it's time to call Dr. Y at Oaklawn Dental LLC. Dr. Yerkes and his team will create a smile that you'll want to share with family and friends. Go to oaklawndentist.com for a complete list of services, or call Oaklawn Dental for an appointment with Dr. Y at 708-424-5700. And for a limited time, get a $100 credit on your new account. Call 708-424-5700. Oaklawn Dental LLC for the smile you deserve.
It is 8:36. Let's get an update on your ride to work in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Southbound 53 is heavy. Rand to Kirchhoff and Beesterfield to 390. And on 355 southbound, it's jammed. Army Trail to Finley with a crash in the right lane. And northbound Veterans Memorial has delays from 75th most of the way to 290. Eden's inbound, 19 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 30. Kennedy, 52 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 42 from Montrose, 31 in the Express. Outbound, 27 minutes to Montrose, 48 to the airport. Eisenhower, an hour, 390 to downtown, 38 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound, an hour and 5 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, 39 minutes. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound heavy. Dempster to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound 95th to 31st. And Cermak to Balmoral. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sunny day ahead, very warm. Unhealthy air quality for some sensitive groups because of the heat and humidity. A high of 90. Clear and warm, 72 overnight. 74 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. More info online at sjnma.org.
See Sean Spicer in Chicago on August 8th. Tickets are absolutely free. Get yours at 560theanswer.com/briefing.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I'll tell you what, when the most pointed and specific critiques of a Republican president's nominee to the Supreme Court are coming from conservative talk show hosts like Mark Levin, you're probably in a pretty good place, as well as with a lot of conservatives still backing them. But all the left has to offer, like these Yale law students and alumni and professors, are just kind of screeching generically about Brett Kavanaugh being the end of the world, the end of life in America as we know it. That's not going to be enough. And otherwise, this guy presents as a Boy Scout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's very philanthropic, and I know that he sold that, to the American people when he was introducing himself on Monday night, but he's a man of his word. I mean, yesterday he was caught, are you ready for this? Feeding the homeless hot meals.
Yeah.
Ooh. But that's something that he had scheduled to do long before he became the Supreme Court Justice nominee.
So far, you've got... let's see, he spent a lot of money on Washington Nationals tickets that his friends later reimbursed him for. And
he put home improvements on his credit card, which he paid.
Yeah, he
off.
got to the home improvements. But what were those home improvements?
Yeah.
A secret line to Putin, maybe? And then you got 20 years ago, he was at some State of the Union watch party with Laura Ingraham, or at Laura Ingram's place, and he allegedly mouthed the word "biatch" to describe Hillary Clinton when she came on screen.
I thought that he said he's got an itch. I don't know.
Sure. That doesn't seem like that's going to be enough to topple this nomination, but what do I know? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by the managing editor for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. He is Philip Klein. Philip Klein, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So, the combination of, it seems like, a very kind of thin oppo file on Kavanaugh, combined with some red state Democrats who are down in the polls right now, Heitkamp, Nelson, and Donnelly. Do you see, other than a lot of histrionics, any real trouble for Kavanaugh getting confirmed?
No, at this stage, it's hard to see that he has problems. Right now, I mean, obviously, given the thinness of the Republican majority, and the Democrats' sort of posture of total resistance, you could never say anything's guaranteed. However, it strikes me that Kavanaugh's been in the Washington legal scene. He's been an insider for decades. He's very well known. He has been a federal judge for a dozen years. He was added quite conspicuously to the Supreme Court list put out by Trump last November. And when he was added, a lot of people thought, okay, well, if he's adding him, that suggests he might be the pick, or at least high on the short list. And so Democrats who have a lot of money and liberal groups who are dedicated to defeating conservative judges have had 8 months to dig up anything they could on Kavanaugh. And typically, a nominee, you want to badger them right out of the gate as sort of unacceptable. I mean, if you remember the initial borking of Robert Bork, right after his nomination, Ted Kennedy came out and sort of talked about Robert Bork's America, and it was kind of a nonstop barrage. And so it's very unlikely that they have anything big on him that's going to tank them. And if you look at the Republican centrists, their language has been very positive. Collins of Maine, who's one of the potential no votes, was very effusive about his experience and thought a lot of the Democratic attacks were overblown and so forth. So I'd be surprised at this point if he didn't go down, if he weren't confirmed. But, you know, again, that given the thinness of the majority, there's always that, you know, question mark.
Well, what's going to be the centerpiece for the Democrats' line of attack? Is it going to be a decision that he made on Obamacare?
It seems like right now they're talking about this other Obamacare suit. Right now there's this suit coming that's in Texas right now, where about 20 states got together, and they're basically it's another legal challenge saying Obamacare has to be overturned, and the Trump administration said that they're not defending Obamacare, and that they think that the pre-existing condition regulations are now unconstitutional. And we could go into the legal arguments if you want, but the bottom line is that this is a very long shot case. It's at the district court, lower court level. It hasn't even been argued yet. And Democrats are trying to hinge onto that to say that if Kavanaugh is the nominee, then he's going to get rid of pre-existing conditions. And it's just like it's a huge stretch, and the fact that they're stretching this far makes me wonder, well, do they really have anything? And then, my suspicions that they have nothing on him were only reconfirmed with the great Washington Post expose on the fact that he bought Nationals tickets on a credit card that were later reimbursed by friends who he split the tickets with.
That's a real story of international intrigue. Here's the thing. So the Obamacare thing, it seems to me, is the second prong of the two-prong hysteria that's proffered by Democrats. Chuck Schumer sort of telegraphed it earlier in the week. The first is going to be, of course, overturning Roe v. Wade, and this is particularly important for Democrats. It would seem some polling that came out this week that suggests the enthusiasm to vote in the midterms among women, where Democrats have electoral advantage, isn't sort of where it needs to be for Democrats to be successful in November, and this may be the path they see to energizing that cohort of the electorate.
Yes, but the problem that they face is that in order to take over the Senate, because the Senate seats that are up this year are the ones that Democrats won in 2012 when it was a good year for Democrats when President Obama was reelected. Mm-hmm. A lot of the states there are basically about 8 states that are considered toss-ups. And Democrats have to win 7 of those 8 states in order to gain control of the Senate. They have to virtually run the table, and most of those states are states that are red states that Trump won, and by wide margins. So you have, for instance, Missouri, West Virginia, North Dakota, and Indiana, all states that were heavily Trump, and they all have Democrats who are running for re-election. So if they actually do vote down this nominee, then it actually puts in danger their ability to retake the Senate, and they could actually end up losing Senate seats.
Well, that's
so
it.
There's this sort of tension, because if they actually are successful in defeating the nomination, then it actually could prevent them from winning the Senate, even as it may help them in certain districts on the House side.
Well, that's what. Yeah, that started out talking about Donnelly, Heitkamp, and Nelson being down in the polls right now, and of course there are other opportunities for Republican pickups in places like West Virginia and Montana. And it just seems to me highly unlikely that a Heitkamp or a Donnelly or a Nelson would want to seal their fate on what appears to be a quixotic vote against confirming Kavanaugh.
Well, keep in mind that Manchin and Donnelly and Heitkamp already voted for Gorsuch.
Yeah, right.
So it seems to me, I think the difficulty that they're going to have is if Republicans, like if Collins and Murkowski somehow vote no, and then the nomination, then Republicans need Democrats to put the nomination over the top. That's going to be a more difficult vote for them than a situation in which Republicans are aligned, the nomination's going through. At that point, it almost becomes a pre-vote to just say, I'm independent of my party and I voted yes for Trump's Supreme Court nominee.
Do you know how soon we can get the confirmation hearings can get started?
I don't know, because part of the reason, this is one reason why, this was one of the sort of reasons why McConnell was cautious about causing Trump about Kavanaugh, is that because he has such a long record dating back to his days when he was a lawyer in Ken Starr's investigation of President Clinton and working in the Bush White House and 12 years on the appellate court, he has a very long paper trail. So what Democrats are going to try to do to delay the nomination is they're going to request all sorts of documents from dating back to his days in the Bush White House, dating back to the Ken Starr investigation. So you basically have over 20 years of document requests. And so the hope is that the way the Democrats do it is that they wait for the documents. They say that, well, we have to have these documents so we could vet the nominee. And if Republicans don't release them, they're going to say they're stonewalling. What are they hiding? They're not being transparent. And then if they do release everything, then it's going to delay any vote on months and months. And Republicans want to have him confirmed by October 1st so that he could sit on the court for the next session, and so that it doesn't take, so that he's in place before the November election, so that they don't risk losing the Senate and then not being able to confirm him.
Yeah,
so,
they can just, look, Republicans can just say, look, confirm him to see what's in those files. And that should satisfy Nancy Pelosi.
My guess is that they'll release a certain number of files so that they can defang Democratic attacks by saying, look, by having a huge stack or something. We've released, 100,000 files, and, the Democrats have had, and they've had months to look at them, and now it's time to vote, right? So they're not, I think that at some point they're going to cut it off, because Democrats are, could endlessly ask for different documents and so forth.
We'll produce all the documents when Rod Rosenstein does. Philip Klein, managing editor for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. His latest column is on Democrats' focus on Obamacare as it pertains to Brett Kavanaugh's nomination. Philip, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sometimes when it rains, it pours right into your basement. This is Gus from Chicagoland Waterproofing. My mission is to identify why your home is taking on water and fix it. I want you to sleep at night during a rainstorm and not worry about your basement filling up with water. Like our client Kim from Mount Prospect.
We had chronic basement flooding and no one could figure out why. During a huge storm, water was pouring in through the window wells of our finished basement and we had to bail out 6 inches of water. We got a bunch of estimates, but Gus's was the most reasonable, plus he knew exactly what the problem was. He put in a full basement drain tile system and an additional sub pump with a backup battery. Chicagoland Waterproofing gave us peace of mind. I like to say, in Gus we trust.
From simple sump pumps to complex storm drainage and crack foundation solutions, Chicagoland Waterproofing's work comes with a lifetime warranty. Plus, a fully licensed plumber is always on staff. Request your estimate today at ChicagolandWaterproofingPros.com. or call 847-296-3500.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or to secure a reverse mortgage? Then you need to do what I did and call David Hochberg and the Team Hochberg Reverse Mortgage Experts. Dan, salesman living in Palatine, called Team Hochberg for information about a reverse mortgage for his 90-year-old mother, Dolores, who lives alone in a $700,000 home, in Arizona. After a few minor accidents, Dan became concerned for his mother's safety, so he called David and the Team Hochberg Reverse Mortgage Experts because they were the only lender he trusted. David answered all of his questions, and they secured him a reverse mortgage. Now Dolores will be taken care of. If you'd like more information on how a Team Hochberg reverse mortgage can pay for your in-home care for your loved one, call David Hochberg and Team Hochberg now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. David and Team Hochberg Reverse Mortgage Experts helped Dolores as well as thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333. Pro Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358, NMLS 19186.
When you purchase an alarm system, you do it for one reason above all others. You need to know something about the people or property under your care. Knowing that what matters most will be looked after by professionals when you can't be there is a comforting feeling. At Alarm Detection Systems, we've learned a great deal from our decades of service. We know how to treat customers on the phone. We know that installing quality security products using certified technicians is the only way to go. We know that same-day service and local monitoring will provide the safety and peace of mind you're looking for. You no longer have to wonder if your home or business is protected by your alarm system. Know that it is. At home or on the go, the information you seek is right in your hands. It's good to be in the know. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. That's 630-844-6300 or online at adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I went to have my blood test done a few weeks ago, and I met the doctor, and he was really encouraged by my progress, and I showed him what I was taking, and he started looking at all the ingredients, and he said, I'm really impressed with the shiitake mushroom. And he said, this stuff, it could clean out your arteries. And I'm like, oh, wow. He said, you may be onto something here. And he said, you just keep that up, and maybe you can start cutting back on your medication. And he says, you're helping your health by doing that. And I'm like, whoa, endorsement by the doctor.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Your daughter's wedding is one of the proudest moments of your life, a moment you and your family will treasure for the rest of your lives. As the months of planning start to unfold and you get closer to the special day, things can get a bit hectic. So many important details. To capture these once-in-a-lifetime memories and not have to worry about anything but the celebration, trust Artland Photography for every precious moment. At Artland Photography, it's all about you. No matter what your style, their photographers have the skill and experience to capture the moments quickly and stay out of the way. They'll make it easy to enjoy all of the smiles, laughter, and tears to enjoy for generations. Visit them at artland.com, where you can see their amazing work and outstanding reviews for yourself. Plus, learn about a special limited time offer. You'll know why Artland Photography has been Wedding Wire's couple's choice for the last 5 years. They also shoot everything from major corporate events to business and family portraits. Visit artland.com. It's all about you.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I hope Jim Oberweis is not listening to this story. It's like very painful.
What happened?
A cow in Peoria County escaped.
Was it a dairy cow or do you know the difference?
I think it was
trying
a
to get to Chick-fil-A.
I mean, right. So
to get the free.
He's carrying the
lunch?
"Eat More Chicken" sign
Yeah.
and roaming the countryside. The cow's owner and 3 others tried to corral the cow and push it back into the barn, but it didn't happen. Stubborn cow. We'll see. The cow continued to run back and forth between a wooded area and the neighborhood.
Did he ever lay on the ground so he was ground beef?
First the no arms, no legs jokes, now that. The owner suggested that Peoria County Sheriff's deputies could end the standoff.
Yeah, how? Wait.
Could end the standoff.
Oh, no, they didn't. Did they taser it or put a dart in its neck?
He asked if we could put the cow down since he had planned to butcher it that day anyway.
Oh.
I don't know how I can break it to you where meat comes from, but yeah.
So it really is ground beef.
So 2 sheriff's deputies shot the cow multiple times with AR-15 rifles. AR-15. Oh, boy. You can expect the Parkland kids to be down at Peoria County Sheriff's Deputy's office within the week.
Oh, thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks, Dan, for that great story. Thanks to Quinn McCarthy, our favorite Irishman who's working the board. And Keith Conrad, our executive producer. We're back here.
Irish, not a pirate.
Okay.
Yar.
We're back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now here is Mike Scott.
The average weight of a dairy cow is about 1,500 pounds. It's going to take some firepower to bring it down. 2 shot while leaving an Airbnb party in Chicago. There is an investigation into that story. We'll have more on that coming up at the top of the hour. A plane makes an emergency landing on I-50.